Get everything done at Studios Le. Chu Mu used Raven's power to return to New York again. After a while of Raven's mist, he appeared in the office of the Star Building. Such a convenient teleportation ability works really well. Don't say anything else. It can at least save Chu Mu a lot of transportation costs every year, and it doesn't take time to travel. It is definitely a must-have magic skill for home travel. I don't know if it can be teleported to an alien planet. Chu Mu has never been to a place outside the Earth, so he can't verify this guess. Wait until later. Go play some fun in Asgard. At that time, by the way, you can experiment. Thinking of this, Chu Mu felt that he had better complete the task of Raven Messenger before Asgard was destroyed. After all, he is a frugal person, and he can't see so many treasures in Asgard being destroyed. Big director, it's too tiring to recruit extra performers. Your dilapidated studio is so big, don't you know how to recruit more employees? After confirming most of the actors, Sky began to take charge of the recruitment of extras. As for the group performances, Chu Mu has no requirements. The main thing is to get enough people to shout 666 on the set. Superhero TV series. How can it be done without a group of people there waving flags and shouting? You can recruit a few clerks to assist you, but after you recruit, let me see how they are. Chu Mu definitely also knows that this kind of chore is a lot of work. Hehe. You want to see whether people are pretty or not. Sky saw through Chu Mu's expression, but in fact she really misunderstood Chu Mu. The reason why Chu Mu wants to see how people are is actually just to prevent the infiltration of S.H.I.E.L.D. He has no interest in ordinary employees. Stop talking nonsense here. Hurry up and go to work. Do you still want a big red envelope? Chu Mu immediately gave Sky a stare. Sky quickly nodded obediently. Speaking of getting help. Sky's action was very fast. Just a few hours later, she led 8 people into Chu Mu's office. Good guy. Without prying into their minds, Chu Mu just looked at the minds of these people politely, and found that 6 of them were agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. If he didn't know that Sky was his own, he would have wondered if Sky was helping S.H.I.E.L.D. Look at this S.H.I.E.L.D. content. Tut tut. I have to say that S.H.I.E.L.D.'s infiltration operation is really crazy. I'm an ordinary law-abiding citizen. How can I let S.H.I.E.L.D. take it so seriously? Chu Mu was dumbfounded and found some reason to eliminate the undercover agents. Your major is wrong. Your height does not meet our company's requirements. Just looking at you is not pleasing to the eye. With a high nose bridge, you are not a good person at first glance. Chu Mu's reasons for eliminating others are very strange. So much so that the only 2 people left in the end had some strange expressions, and the normal person, who was older among them, was a little shivering. This company pays well and is very close to home. She thinks it should be the most suitable job for her. But now it seems there is little hope. The younger and older woman looked at the only remaining competitor next to her, and she felt that the possibility of her being admitted was infinitely approaching zero. Beautiful. The body is also a good explosion. Even female stars are incomparable. Such a beautiful girl. There is no doubt how attractive it is to a young boss. The older women feel that their image is actually very good, but they are very ashamed in front of this competitor. You too. Chu Mu looked at the 2 women at the desk, and had to say that he was also amazed by the beauty of the young girl. Pretty as unreal. In comparison, the young woman next to her, who still had a charming charm, was directly inferior. Introduce yourself. Chu Mu was quite tired after a busy day, so instead of looking at the information, he asked the 2 applicants to introduce themselves. My name is May Parker, and I want to apply for a logistics clerk here. Although I don't have a high degree of education, I have a wealth of work experience in this kind of work. Made a self-introduction. She just watched everyone who graduated from Harvard get brushed off. Chu Mu heard a familiar name. Plum? Parker. Good guy. After a closer look, even the appearance is so familiar. Isn't this the beautiful aunt of Spider-Man Peter Parker? A character who is quite expected in the Marvel Universe actually went to his own company to apply for a job. Well, the Star Building is indeed not far from Queens. Extensive work experience. Very good. You've been hired. Regardless of the relationship with little Spider-Man, Chu Mu still trusts Aunt May's character. It is definitely better to use such a knowledgeable person as an employee than to recruit casually. What? Aunt May never expected that she got this job so easily. She just felt that life was so dreamy. This is a high-achieving student who beat Harvard University in the application process. If it weren't for Chu Mu's eyes, it would be normal. Besides, there's a real big beauty next to her. Aunt May wonders if this young boss wants to hide her thoughts. Is it so casual? Aunt May just couldn't believe it. You don't like our company? Chu Mu raised his eyebrows. Definitely like it. I love the company. The company is my second home. Aunt May did not want to lose this hard-won job opportunity. You won't find such high-paying jobs anywhere else. Well, if you are conscious, go to Sky, the person who recruited you, to apply for employment. Chu Mu watched Aunt May leave the office. Then he looked at another applicant. The lonely man and the widow live in the same room, and the woman is not only beautiful, but Chu Mu has no evil thoughts. He doesn't like submerged rules, and he doesn't know how to engage in submerged rules. Definitely, when the other party takes the initiative, he will also consider it appropriately. It's a pity that the beautiful girl in front of her obviously didn't have that idea. My name is Carrie, and I just came to New York from a small place. I want to apply for the position of corporate finance. I have a professional CMA certificate and I am definitely qualified for this position. The beautiful girl handed in her resume again. Originally, Chu Mu didn't plan to recruit finance, but the company seems to be doing well. Paying wages must be done by a dedicated person. The gold content of the CMA certificate is quite high, and Chu Mu couldn't help but take a few more glances at this beautiful girl named Jiali. Unexpectedly, such a beautiful girl is actually a young school bully. Are there any requirements for treatment? Chu Mu looked at the famous brand on the girl's body indiscriminately. The famous brand is extremely expensive, probably enough to buy a Rolls-Royce. Just take care of the food. At first glance, it looks like someone who is not short of money, but he probably just came out to find a job to dawdle. Chu Mu doesn't dislike such a rich second generation. The rich second generation who can get the CMA certificate is definitely not a lazy person. The food here is very good. I plan to set up a canteen in a while, and invite masters with superb craftsmanship to come to the company to cook. Chu Mu is not drawing big cakes, he really wants to find a Chinese chef, and it is easy to step on the thunder when he always goes to those less authentic Chinese restaurants. Aha! The girl named Jiali's eyes lit up when she heard Chu Mu's words. It was the real bling bling. She had extremely rare purple pupils. Color contact lenses. Chu Mu is not too entangled in this issue. Employees like to wear colored contact lenses as a personal preference. Maybe this new employee has a soft spot for purple, and the big name outfits on his body are basically more or less purple. It's just. Why does this new employee feel familiar? Marvel Universe. It seems that there is no role called Jiali, right? For Chu Mu recruited 2 women into the company. Sky's reaction was, as expected, with contempt. Chu Mu only felt that he was very wronged. It's so difficult for Aunt May to live alone with a child. Letting her join our company can be regarded as helping a poor family. Chu Mu said with a look of emotion. It is very common to investigate the background information of employees in free country. He is not afraid of people asking him about the source of this information. I have investigated, and the child in her family is an orphan left by her deceased sister. He is very thin and often bullied in school. I guess it is because he can't eat enough. Cause of hunger. Talking nonsense with open eyes is Chu Mu's forte. Moreover, he's not all liars either. Peter Parker was indeed very thin, and he was often bullied at school. But this thin little guy could kill a cow with one punch. Chu Mu specifically went to search, but Spider-Man has been active in the city for a whole year. Aunt May? Is this already a title? Sky looked at Chu Mu suspiciously. In her impression, Chu Mu was not so kind and kind. After all, people are so old, so they can't just call them by their first names. I'm from Longguo, and it's our tradition to respect the old and love the young. Chu Mu made an excuse for his casual address in a serious manner. Sky believed it. The people of Longguo really take seniority very seriously. Well, Aunt May, it's no wonder she works so hard. It turns out that she wants to earn money to support her family. It's really not easy for her to support a family as a woman. Sky's sympathy overflowed, but she thought of another new colleague, who was so beautiful that she felt moved. That Carrie. You must have taken a fancy to someone else's beauty. Sky's tone was very firm. Isn't the ability of others strong? It's good to have a CMA certificate. Chu Mu began to teach Sky earnestly again. Besides, she is from a small place. The society is so dangerous now. If she encounters it would be a tragedy to be a soil and fat boss. Listen to what Chu Mu said. Sky recalled. The new employee, the beautiful girl, said that she would eat snacks all the time while working, but her business abilities seemed to be ridiculously strong. The most important thing is that people are quite simple. It looks easy to deceive. If you meet someone with ulterior motives, you will be easily fooled. If there is anything wrong with Carrie, it is Carrie's body that can't eat fat, which makes Sky secretly suspect that it is a kind of super ability. God knows how can a girl with an explosive figure eat 3 barrels of Häagen-Dazs every day. Sky was so envious that he almost felt that the wall of the body was separating. Anyway, you are the boss. You can do whatever you say. I just suspect that you are an LSP, and I didn't refute your decision. Sky muttered, LSP is still the abbreviation she learned from Chu Mu. Fortunately, she didn't know any famous brands, otherwise she would definitely question why Jiali, who came from a small place, wore a Rolls-Royce. In fact, Chu Mu also had doubts about this question, but after thinking about it for a while, he also knew that it is not impossible for a small place to produce rich people. Could it be that Carrie's father is the richest farmer somewhere? This situation is actually very common in free countries. Prepared for days. In the afternoon, the TV series will start filming. S.H.I.E.L.D.'s agents naturally don't have to worry about their traffic problems. For sure, those S.H.I.E.L.D. agents are all flying fighter jets to the filming scene. The only ones who have to consider transportation are the mutant students of Xavier Academy for Gifted Boys. Chu Mu planned to rent a bus to take these students there. Chu Mu also knew the person responsible for bringing a group of students to the Star Building. Fiery red hair. Model-like figure. There is also that unique charm that is slightly dangerous. Chin. Gray. Among the mutants, the famous Phoenix is an extremely rare Omega-level mutant. The Phoenix force in its body can even compete with Origin magic power. In fact, she was the one who sent the students to audition before, but she didn't come upstairs before. Are you there, teacher? Although Chu Mu is like a bright mirror in his heart, he still pretends to know nothing about Chin Gray. He didn't dare to invade the thinking of this kind of character without authorization. God knows. Will you accidentally touch the Phoenix force? The professor says we can trust you. Chin Gray's character is of the colder kind. She didn't shake hands with Chu Mu, but stood at the gate with her arms folded. Such abrupt words. Chu Mu couldn't help being taken aback. So direct? Don't even pretend. Director, you are the same as us, right? Shadowcat Katie, who had met before, asked with some hesitation. Her side. The eyes of the other mutant students were also very curious. This atmosphere is obviously a little delicate. What the hell? It's okay for Chin Gray, a straight steel girl, to be straightforward, but why do these mutant kids look like they've put their cards down and stopped pretending? Chu Mu just felt a little confused for a moment. He didn't dare to invade Chin Gray casually, but he was able to invade the minds of these mutant students. There is no need to look at the deep memory. Just look what's going on in the minds of these mutant kids these days. Chu Mu also knew what was going on. So even Charles thinks I'm a mutant. Chu Mu invaded Katie's thinking, and she suddenly understood what was going on. It turned out that when a group of students were studying the script in the academy, the more they read it, the more angry they felt that the script was deliberately discrediting mutant and adding to the public's respect. Mutant fear. So, the students who couldn't think about it went to form a team to find Charles. Charles naturally appeased these students, and told them a secret: your director is actually as special as us. Chu Mu was not surprised that Charles discovered his specialness. After all, he lost control of his super ability in front of Charles. He was surprised that Charles actually told these mutants about his situation, and he didn't know what Charles was thinking. Anyway, it is precisely because of Charles's leakage that mutant students feel that Chu Mu is like them, and now they feel that the eyes of Chu Mu are much more friendly. However, the problem is that I'm not a mutant. Chu Mu couldn't laugh or cry in his heart. He looked at the eager eyes of the mutant students, and didn't know how to explain it, so he simply smiled and gave an ambiguous answer. Probably, it depends on where you look at it from. This answer. All of a sudden, the mutant students became excited, and even Chin Gray looked at Chu Mu more. They obviously regarded Chu Mu as their own. After all, for the people of Mutant Academy, no one ever went back and doubted Charles's words. Director, what is your ability? Katie Shadowcat has always been very curious. She blinked and stared at Chu Mu. The other mutant students were just as curious. Jean Grey looked over again. My ability? Chu Mu looked around and saw that several of his employees were not here. He thought about it for a while, and felt that getting closer to the actors would be beneficial for the filming of the film. You may be able to experience it for yourself. Finished. He just stepped out. Countless ravens lingered around the entire room, surrounded Chu Mu and a group of mutant students, and Jean Grey subconsciously wanted to activate the ability. But he put down his hand after seeing Chu Mu's calm eyes. She looked at Raven surrounding her, as surprised as the mutant students. Welcome to Los Angeles. Chu Mu's voice fell. Countless ravens dispersed one after another. Looking at the changed surrounding environment, the mutant students all stared wide-eyed, so surprised that they couldn't speak at all. Cool. After a long time, Shadowcat Katie looked at Chu Mu with shining eyes. Space jump. It should be said that the one who reacted the most was Jean Grey. She knew a lot more than the mutant students. Didn't the professor say that this person's ability is the ability of the mind? Why is the ability displayed by this person this kind of ability that can teleport living people in a large area? Jean Grey was dumbfounded. She didn't think Charles's judgment was wrong. Could it be possible for a person to have multiple different mutant abilities at the same time? The spiritual ability that can move even Charles is definitely not weak, and now this ability that can teleport multiple targets without any effort is also extremely powerful. New York and Los Angeles are not that close. The ability to teleport so many people at once. The strategic significance is simply terrifying. Jean Grey looked at Chu Emu's blushing and breathless expression, and felt that the situation was beyond her imagination. Maybe this person would be able to teleport hundreds of people at once. God! Who can possess two powerful variant abilities at the same time? Jean Grey looked at Chu Mu with something wrong. She was originally a scholar who studied the X gene, and now seeing Chu Mu, a mutant beyond cognition, she immediately had a feeling of overturning cognition. To be frank, Jean Grey now really wants to study Chu Emu's genes. Huh. Ma'am, our shooting location is not on this floor. Chu Mu was directly teleported to the rented shooting building. He looked at Jean Grey standing where he was, and quickly motioned for Jean Grey to follow. Now those mutant kids are excited around Chu Mu. It was as if they regarded Chu Mu as a kind of cool ability, and among them, Katie Shadowcat had the most intense reaction. Her little face was flushed, looking at Chu Emu's eyes, as if she was looking at an idol. It's normal, Chu Emu's appearance is already attractive to girls. Sorry, I was thinking about something. Jean Grey smiled apologetically, but after following Chu Mu, she activated her abilities silently. Aside from the Phoenix Force in her body, she also has a super telepathy ability, which can stun the target through pure spiritual energy. At the same time, Jean Grey can read other people's thoughts and memories without physical contact, and also has the idea of creating illusions and manipulating other people's thoughts. It can be regarded as an extremely powerful mutant. As a scientist, Jean Grey couldn't help but wonder what happened to Chu Mu. She launched the ability of thinking intrusion on Chu Mu. However, something unexpected happened. Jean Grey felt as if her brain had been hit by a heavy hammer, and her whole consciousness was in a trance for several seconds. How is this going? After the pain in the brain eased a little, Jean Grey just raised her head, and met Chu Emu's gaze turning around to look at her. Deep, gloomy. Unusually calm. Believe me, that wasn't a good decision. Chu Mu just smiled lightly at Jean Grey, and then turned to talking and laughing with a group of mutant kids. Behind Jean Grey's expression was already full of horror. She knew what Chu Mu was talking about. The situation just now was completely a warning from the other party. Jean Grey only felt his throat tighten, and there was already a huge wave in his heart. She has only seen such a powerful psychic power in one person over the years. That person is Professor X Charles Xavier. A godlike powerful existence in the hearts of countless mutants. Is this why the professor values him? Jean Grey had already started to make up his mind, only to feel that he had discovered the incredible truth. Chu Mu, this down-and-out Chinese director. He actually possesses the spiritual power comparable to Charles. So, this is Charles finding another backer for the mutants. All of a sudden, Jean Grey's inner emotions were mixed. She was very happy because she found another powerful mutant, but she was also very disturbed, because her behavior just now undoubtedly provoked him. Fortunately, others don't plan to care about it. Jean Grey thinks that Chu Mu just gave himself a warning. Instead of directly ruthless, he should be a less magnanimous person. Favorability +3. Chu Mu is definitely generous. Because he also has the problem of liking to spy on other people's memories. This is not a good practice. However, this is a habit that all spiritual abilities cannot avoid. Didn't the Virgin Mary, like Charles, spy on other people's minds all the time when she was young? For Phoenix Jean Grey's mind spying, Chu Mu can understand the other party's psychological thoughts, so naturally he will not pursue any responsibility. The most important thing is that even if Chu Mu wants to be held accountable, he actually can't beat the opponent's Phoenix Force. Bully the soft and fear the hard, not shabby. Chu Mu took mutant students and Jean Grey to see the scene, and gave a speech to everyone based on his understanding of black robe pickets. Everyone in the story has a real character. Good people are not completely good and bad people are not completely bad. The charm of this drama lies in this. Definitely, the perverted Homelander is still the biggest attraction. After Sky learned that Chu Mu finally put on the Homelander shirt, he laughed at Chu Mu for several days, saying Chu Mu was hypocritical before. Since the mutant students regard Chu Mu as their own, they may still be thinking that Chu Emu's filming of the TV series is to work hard for the future of mutant. In addition, Chu Emu's cool display of ability before, now they are in front of Chu Mu also very obedient. Jean Grey felt a little jealous. As a teacher who has taught these children for several years, she has never received such support from Chu Mu. After Sky and the 3 agents from S.H.I.E.L.D. arrived, the filming of the Black Robe officially started. Since everyone's acting skills were online, it went very smoothly. It's just that some small accidents happened in it. Chin Gray definitely has learned that all 3 of Natasha Romanoff are agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But the mutant students didn't know it, which led to them being shocked by the skills of Natasha Romanoff and others when filming the fighting scenes. To know. The Xavier Academy for Gifted Boys trains the X-Men, so the students also have fighting courses. These mutant students thought they were very powerful. Who knows? Start shooting. But they found that they couldn't even compare with the 3 actresses. Is Hollywood all this introverted now? The mutant students who played against the 3 agents are all numb. Why can't they even compare to the actors who have been acting in the academy after studying for a long time? Your power posture is wrong, you should be like me. Tae Chime was a S.H.I.E.L.D. instructor, and it is also a habit to guide others to fight. She explained carefully. It made a group of mutant students who were quite arrogant feel a little ashamed, and they all regretted that they didn't study hard in school. You can't even beat actors in a fight now, how will you deal with the evil mutant in the future? Many previously confident students feel a little frustrated. Chu Mu noticed that Chin Gray secretly smiled when he saw this situation, and he suspected that Chin Gray deliberately frustrated these students. There is something wrong with the mentality of the mutant students. The 3 agents are actually not much better. Natasha Romanoff and others definitely have already investigated the identities of other actors. They're all F***King mutants, mutants all over the place. Acting with a group of time bombs, the 3 agents felt a lot of pressure, afraid that they would be killed by these students with ability if they were not paying attention. Normal actors want to pretend that they have super abilities, but these actors are just the opposite, pretending that they don't have super abilities. The 3 agents were afraid that one of these students would get into the drama too deeply, and the super ability would be confiscated. After that, they probably would have nothing to do. This task is too dangerous. Hill agent has reported this situation to Braised Danto more than once. However, they can't stop the mission. After learning that all the participants were mutants, Nick Fury paid a lot of attention to the situation here. Professor X's favorite students have been dispatched. It seems that this TV series is really not simple. Nick Fury subconsciously felt that there must be some conspiracy in it. Natasha Romanoff and 2 other agents have similar views on this. If there is no inside story, how could there be a bunch of mutants here? About what exactly X Academy wants to do? The experts inside S.H.I.E.L.D. have been researching for a long time, but they haven't figured out what kind of benefits this drama can bring to mutants. This makes Natasha Romanoff and others dare not take it lightly. They had to find out what was the plan of that mutant who could destroy human beings. In the process of filming, they occasionally guide the actions of the mutant students. In fact, this behavior is just to get some relationship with the mutant students. Between small talk, Natasha Romanoff and others are trying to formulate words to the mutant students. However, although a group of rookies can't stop the ace agents from speaking, after all, these mutant students themselves don't know Charles's intentions. All they knew was that the TV series would improve mutant survival. As for the fact that they and others are mutants, the mutant students are very vigilant, so the information that the 3 agents can obtain is extremely limited. Chin Gray, the only one who might know the inside story, simply ignored the 3 people's strike up. This iceberg beauty. Except for a few words with Chu Mu once in a while, Remote stood aside with arms folded, watching the students filming TV dramas. They're not nice people. Chin Gray suddenly reminded Chu Mu one day. Probably because Chu Mu didn't know that Natasha Romanoff and others were agents. What? They're not good people. Chu Mu's eyes widened exaggeratedly, and then, he also knew that his acting was too fake, and he showed a smile that seemed to have nothing. Just kidding. Don't mind, I already knew about this situation. They are definitely not good people. What kind of good people can S.H.I.E.L.D.'s agent have? Chu Mu's answer was somewhat unexpected to Chin Gray. Do you know their identities? Chin Gray was slightly puzzled at first, and then showed an expression of sudden realization. That's right. Your ability is much stronger than mine, so it must be easy to spy on their memories. She obviously already regarded Chu Mu as a mutant at the level of Charles. Ha ha. Chu Mu didn't answer the call. Since you know they are agents, why do you want them to participate? Chin Gray didn't understand Chu Mu's behavior. In her opinion, for this group of eagle dogs in the free country, it should be as far away as possible. In my hometown, there is an old saying that as bold as a person is, the land can be as productive as possible. They are agents and it doesn't affect my use of them for filming. Chu Mu watched in admiration in the camera lens. Queen Maeve, played by Hill Agent, completed a series of difficult stunt fighting performances. Look, how well they performed. Can I spend 10 million to hire a female celebrity to perform like this? 10 million female stars definitely wouldn't have this kind of professional performance. Even in a certain mysterious showbiz, the female stars invited by 10 million can only stare and cut out pictures. Chu Mu felt that his decision was correct, while Chin Gray felt that Chu Mu was playing with fire. Using S.H.I.E.L.D.'s agent to film a movie. Probably only a strong person at Chu Mu's level would dare to do such a bold thing. Hope you know what you're doing. Chin Gray looked at Chu Mu deeply. I have been sober. Who can have a deeper understanding of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Chu Mu responded to Chin Gray with a smile. After speaking, at the moment he, who was still wearing the Homelander jersey, stood up from behind the camera equipment. He's been very busy recently, he's going to be a director and an actor at the same time. No, it's going to be Homelander's turn soon. The atmosphere on the set is quite harmonious. But in fact, it can only be regarded as a subtle harmony. Chu Mu also had some problems during the filming, but it was not that his interpretation of the character image was not good enough to affect the progress. On this side, just like what Sky said, Chu Mu's acting effect is already very explosive. After he played Homelander for many days, the mutant students looked at him in a strange way, and Sky shouted more than once that Chu Mu was Homelander himself. I just studied the characters more deeply. After Chu Mu scolded Sky with his front foot, he immediately entered the scene with his back foot during filming. God loves the world. I love this world. Chu Mu also wrote some lines for Homelander, and he performed the scene of Homelander's brain-filling massacre of all the people in the square with a grinning grin. Even without physical performance. I also watched the live group performances and the audience felt their scalps go numb. I just think this actor is too perverted. Definitely, this interesting shooting incident is not an accident that happened to Chu Mu, but just to illustrate that Chu Mu has great acting ability. Only Shadowcat Katie knew about the accident that happened to Chu Mu. And, for a time, Shadowcat Katie regarded it as a secret that only she knew. It's broken. It's broken. Homelander. No, it's the director, your wire is broken. It happened during the shooting of Homelander's levitation scene. Chu Mu usually feels uncomfortable hanging from the wire, so he will use psychokinesis to be lazy, and on the surface it looks like he is still hanging from the wire. This led to a wire accident, the wire was broken, and he was still suspended in midair only to find out with the reminder from Shadowcat Katie. Fortunately, at that time, the 3 agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. were filming other scenes in another room, so only Shadowcat Katie noticed something was wrong. You read it wrong. Chu Mu calmly used psychokinesis to pretend to reconnect the broken wire, and then explained it to Shadowcat in a serious manner. I have full vision in both eyes. I can't see wrong. Katie Shadowcat insisted, and took out her medical examination form. Chu Mu was silent for a moment. If I told you that I also hung an invisible wire, would you believe it if a fool couldn't see it? About this question, Katie Shadowcat was silent for a long time. Do you think I'm still a child? She just looked at Chu Mu like that. After a long time, Chu Mu sighed, admitted his mistake, and asked Shadowcat Katie to help keep it secret, and Shadowcat Katie definitely agreed excitedly. God. This powerful compatriot actually has the ability of flight. It's just too cool. Katie Shadowcat, who was already a fan of Chu Mu, has admired Chu Mu even more since then. Girls. Both like handsome and powerful opposite sex. Chu Mu just fits this image, and Shadowcat also knows from Charles that Chu Mu is doing a great attempt. She definitely admires Chu Mu more and more. When I thought of the secret that only I and Chu Mu knew, Shadowcat Katie felt very happy and excited. S.H.I.E.L.D.'s agents were not informed of this. In fact, it doesn't matter even if you know it. Chu Mu has already relied on his mental power to cover, and peeped into the communication between Natasha Romanoff and Braised Danto several times. I don't know why these agents like to make phone calls in the toilet so much. Mental power is not eyes, so Chu Mu thinks that his voyeurism is not abnormal. In short, now S.H.I.E.L.D. seriously suspects that Chu Mu is also a mutant who hides deeply. It's normal. Anyone with a discerning eye can spot it. The attitude of the mutant students towards Chu Mu belongs to the attitude towards their own people. Chu Mu is not worried about being watched by S.H.I.E.L.D. He concentrates on making TV series. The progress of the next filming is very fast. Since each scene has been conceived in his mind, Chu Mu has shown a director level comparable to Wang Jing, shooting at multiple locations at the same time every day. About 10 days later, the first season of Black Robe was filmed. This efficiency has to be said to be extremely fast. This is due to Chu Mu himself, but also to the actors who performed very well. Mutant definitely knows how to play a super ability person. Or something. Only happens if lines are forgotten. More than 10 days of shooting. Chu Mu also experienced the acquisition of a new identity twice. It's just that his luck has been bad for the past 2 weeks, and he only got the bronze status. Bronze rank status, genius chef. Reminder. Once the identity takes effect, it will be permanently valid. In addition to being a down-and-out director destined to become a god, you also have a hobby of cooking. Fortunately, you have unparalleled ability in this line of work. As long as it is a dish that you have tasted, you can perfectly restore its taste. Over the years, you have secretly accumulated rich cooking skills. Now, you just want to show off your cooking skills and amaze everyone. Identity exclusive task. Get 1,000 people to praise the delicious food you cook. Mission reward. Luminous cooking. The first identity is chef. The process of completing the identity task is also simple. Chu Mu personally cooked a meal for the extras and actors on the set. In order to ensure the completion of the task, he used a lot of high-end ingredients. The living standards of the group performers are not very good, so the lobster and abalone are naturally full of praise. That's it. Chu Mu easily used Charles's money to complete his own identity-exclusive task, and obtained the ability to make luminous dishes. Just like the luminous dishes in Xiaodongjia, this may also be regarded as an unscientific super ability. Luminous dishes can enhance the deliciousness of food. Have to say, even if it's just a bronze status, it also brought some surprises to Chu Mu. The improvement of the deliciousness of glowing dishes is very huge. Even if you don't make glowing dishes, your cooking skills in a normal state can crush many so-called chefs. The company's financial manager Jiali is a good example. After eating the egg fried rice made by Chu Mu, she said that it was the most delicious dish she had ever eaten. Jiali is a veritable foodie, and she doesn't know how excited she will be if she is allowed to eat glowing dishes. Sometimes Chu Mu also doubts whether Jiali is a mutant. Ability is invincible digestion. He once saw Jiali eat a large pot of egg fried rice with his own eyes. Yes. A large pot. It was the kind of big iron pot that is common in rural areas. After eating it, Jiali was still full of emotions. Chu Mu suspected that her stomach was connected to a different dimension. Bronze rank status, bar owner. Reminder. Once the identity takes effect, it will be permanently valid. In addition to being destined to become a super god who understands cooking skills, you are also a person who understands life. You used investors' money to open a bar quietly a few years ago. In order not to be discovered by investors and others, you opened the bar in the simple and honest Texas, and now it has become the favorite paradise of the Bosozoku. Exclusive task for identity. Renovate the bar and decorate the bar with a pink theme. Mission reward. A bottle of fine wine that can never be drunk. Compared with the first bronze level status, the benefits this status brings to Chu Mu are not that great. That is, it allows Chu Mu to learn some knowledge about fine wine. And there is one more bank card that will receive $20,000 to $30,000 a month. Since Chu Mu hasn't been to Texas yet, he can't use Raven's teleportation skills, so the exclusive mission of this identity has been put on hold for the time being. He planned to complete this task when he was free in the future. A bottle of unlimited wine might be able to exchange a lot of good things with Odin's prodigal son. With the completion of the filming of the first season, the celebration banquet was naturally on the agenda. Chu Mu used Charles's money to invite the whole crew to have a meal at the Grand Hotel in New York. Congratulations to the completion of our TV series. Chu Mu opened a bottle of 1982 Lafite, and he had long wanted to taste this famous red wine. The director has worked hard. I haven't had enough acting yet. Wow, the food here is really delicious. The emotions of the mutant students were also very high. Since they were not yet of age, Chu Mu could only drink a whole bottle of red wine with tears. What? The 3 female agents are adults. Stayed in a box with a bunch of mutants who didn't want to get out of their wits, so it was Chu Mu who ended up dealing with a whole bottle of wine by himself. As for Sky, she's not old enough to drink either. Boom. Just when everyone was chatting and laughing, the 3 agents also had ulterior motives and wanted to follow Chu Mu after drinking and asked Chu Mu for some information. Suddenly there was the sound of smashing and smashing outside, followed by chaotic screams and terrified shouts. What's going on? Natasha Romanoff frowned. She exchanged glances with Agent Hill and Agent May. Could it be that she was just unlucky and met Happy America shootouts every day? Suddenly, Chin Gray, who had been eating food in silence and supervising the students not to drink, immediately reacted and rushed out of the box. Others followed immediately. Chu Mu sighed, put down the red wine glass in his hand, and walked out of the box in a leisurely manner. Outside. Hall Place. The terrified people fled out in a panic. A man with porcupine quills all over his body went crazy in the hall as if he was drunk. He saw Chu Mu standing at the stairs. What? The man covered with porcupine quills frightened everyone with his teeth and claws. He had expected the group of young men to flee like the other guests. However, The mood of the at-the-moment mutant students was complicated. Chin Gray's temples were throbbing, and the expressions of the three female agents were extremely serious. I'm a mutant. How can you not be afraid of me? No. You have to be afraid of me. The man with the porcupine thorns stood up all the thorns, and he yelled at the crowd in dissatisfaction. Mutant? Who is not? We are much scarier than you when we are ruthless. The mood of mutant students at the moment is more complicated. How can there be such a stupid compatriot? At this time, the three female agents are already secretly contacting field personnel. Mutant hazards have always been extremely serious special events. They are also not afraid of this kind of mutant. Director. Although Shadowcat Katie didn't know the small actions of the three female agents, she was also worried that this drunk compatriot would be shot dead by the police who arrived. She leaned next to Chu Mu, took Chu Mu's hand, and looked at Chu Mu with pleading eyes. The meaning in the eyes was self-evident. It's really just an idiot. Chu Mu has long been linked to the thinking of a man with a porcupine thorn, knowing that this is a mutant with a happy family but has been hiding his identity. In fact, even so, he originally didn't intend to control this mutant's life and death, but seeing Katie kept shaking his hand. No way. Chu Mu's heart softened. Mainly the girl holding his arm. His arm felt soft too. After sighing, Chu Mu nodded to Shadowcat Katie. Puff puff puff. The man with the porcupine thorn was still dancing with his teeth and claws open. Suddenly, a black raven flew past under his feet. As the storm formed by Raven's split appeared, the porcupine man was wrapped in black raven. Seeing such an anomaly, the three agents turned down the stairs immediately and wanted to rush over, but at this time Raven had completely dissipated. It turned into puffs of black smoke, and flowed back to Chu Mu from the ground. In the lobby of the bar, the man with porcupine quills had been sent to a park not far away. Where am I? The porcupine was directly sent over a lake in the suburbs. After falling into the water, his forehead trembled from the cold, and he was mostly sober from the wine. He immediately looked around in a daze. Cherish your hard-won opportunity this time. Suddenly, a porcupine stabs a man's head. A young man's voice sounded. He immediately recalled what he had done just now, and only felt regretful, but he also realized that he was saved by a mysterious existence. Thanks, thanks. After the porcupine man climbed ashore, he kowtowed several times in the direction of the hotel. I'm too kind. In the hotel, Chu Mu silently gave herself a thumbs up. On the surface, he still made an unbelievable expression. Where did he go? My God. Are they the mutants they often talk about on TV? Although well acted. But neither the mutant students nor the three agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. obviously believed his posturing. You use a group of mutants as actors, and you tell me you have nothing to do with mutants? Don't know mutant? The three female agents felt speechless for a while. To say that the only one standing on the same side as Chu Mu is the naive girl Sky, who stared in the direction of the hall dumbfounded. You. Have you seen it? That's magic. It must be magic. And the porcupine man. I knew everything on the declassified website was true. Sky likes to visit some street stall literature websites, and now she is excited. It's like a Tibetan fox who has discovered a water monkey. By the way, why did you climb the stairs? After a burst of exclamation, Sky began to wonder about the strange behavior of the three female agents before. Normal people. To see such a miraculous scene. Shouldn't he be stunned like himself? Why does it feel like these three actors are going to get close to the porcupine man? Sky's eyes were full of doubts. The three female agents didn't know how to explain the situation. They looked at the suspicious expressions of Sky and those mutant students. After a long time. Urgent urination. We are urgent to urinate and want to come down to go to the bathroom. Natasha Romanoff then held back a seemingly reasonable explanation. It is very reasonable for three people to urinate so urgently at the same time. Urinary urgency is a universal reason, if you ignore the twitching corners of Jean Grey's eyes. And Chu Mu pinched himself several times with a suppressed smile. Well, the three female agents successfully fooled the past. This celebration banquet, which was originally quite enjoyable, finally ended with an imperfect gesture. The hotel is cordoned off by the police. Naturally, everyone had to go back to their respective homes and find their own mothers. As for the remuneration of all the actors, Chu Mu also asked Jiali to distribute the remuneration for the first time. It was the first time for a group of mutant students to receive the money they earned. They were all excited and began to discuss how to spend the money in whispers. The three female agents also got their due salary. Chu Mu did not skimp on the remuneration of the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, mainly because she felt that it was really not easy for these three women to come out and earn some extra money. Definitely, his generosity also has something to do with spending the investors' money. Charles is not short of this money anyway. Chu Mu didn't want to have a showdown with S.H.I.E.L.D. so soon. mainly because he didn't want to cause trouble with Hydra, and now S.H.I.E.L.D. is a nest of Hydra. If you need us for the follow-up promotion, you can contact us at any time. The three of Natasha Romanoff also want to investigate the situation of the show in depth. On the face of it, Black Robe Picket is just an anti-hero movie, and experts at S.H.I.E.L.D. think it will only make the public hate Mutant even more. In order to make the public hate Mutant, Charles will spend hundreds of millions of dollars to film a TV series and let the precious students go off in person. Not to mention that Natasha Romanoff and others didn't believe it, even Nick Fury thought it was ridiculous, and fired the expert in charge of the analysis on the spot. Experts with poor business ability have gone home to farm, but what Charles wants to do is still a question that keeps Nick Fury awake at night. As the saying goes, when the leader is worried, the subordinates are about to lose their legs. Natasha Romanoff and others think that the TV promotional meeting may be their best opportunity. By the time, the director always has to talk about the shooting concept, right? They guide again. I am not afraid that the director will not disclose some key information. As for the issue of publicity, agents of their level are not afraid of becoming public figures at all. Definitely, if there is a need, I will contact you as soon as possible. Chu Mu knew very well what medicine the three female agents sold in the gourd. None of this requires mind reading at all. After sending away the three S.H.I.E.L.D. female agents, Chu Mu went to the special effects production company that Charles holds shares with, everyone clamoring to see the special effects production. The next few days, he supervises both with the mutant students. It's here. Something happened again. There is a problem with your special effects. Being invisible doesn't mean you can get wet. As long as the invisible person gets wet, the invisibility effect will be greatly reduced. The mutant student who played the invisible person was patient with the person in charge of making the special effects, explaining. For stealth, no one knows better than him. However, I've been making special effects for so many years, and you still need to teach me how to do them. The technician rolled his eyes with contempt. The invisible man's expression was extremely tangled, it was hard to tell. You have produced special effects for more than 10 years, how much experience do I have as an invisible person for more than 10 years? Brother, when animals talk, their mouths don't look like this. The mutant who can communicate with animals wants to give advice. But it was still refuted by the technicians with the reason of, you don't understand. No way. Mutant students had no choice but to go to Chu Mu to make a small report. When Chu Mu saw this, he also stood up and asked the technicians to do what everyone asked. I am the one who pays. Your task is to fulfill our requirements, not what you think you should do. Chu Mu solemnly warned the technicians, do you need me to find your boss and ask him to teach you how to be obedient? The tone was not friendly. Okay, you have the final say. But the technicians are not iron-headed boys after all, knowing that the uncle is the one who gives the banknotes these days, so they did it even though they were upset. The mutant students immediately cheered when they saw this group of technicians submissive, and Chu Mu's prestige in their hearts increased a bit. Children, it is not difficult to gain their approval. If you have time, come and play. Using Raven to send the group of mutant students back to New York, Chu Mu watched Chin off. Gray took the students away. Phoenix, an iceberg beauty, hasn't talked much these days, but with Chu Mu's flirting methods, she still has a little more recognition for Chu Mu. Those agents won't leave easily. Once they set their sights on a prey, they will never give up until they get what they want. Before leaving, Chin Gray also kindly reminded Chu Mu that for a person of her personality, a little concern already shows that she regards Chu Mu as a friend. Who is the hunter and who is the prey? In fact, it may be different from what you think. Chu Mu responded to Chin Gray with a smile. He understood that Chin Gray lacked trust in official institutions. He also doesn't trust S.H.I.E.L.D. But S.H.I.E.L.D.'s 3 melons and 2 dates. Just fool people who don't understand this institution, just take a little precaution against the out-and-out Hydra. And if S.H.I.E.L.D. is ignorant, Chu Mu also has many ways to disintegrate it in advance. Simplest. It is to let Nick Fury know that S.H.I.E.L.D. writes Snake and S.H.I.E.L.D. At that time, Nick Fury will not be in the mood to care about mutant or not. Jean Grey sent the mutant child back to school and handed it over to Storm Aurora to manage, then went straight to Charles's office. Professor, things over there are already done. Jean Grey reported to Charles. So fast? Charles put down the book in his hands, and took off his glasses, his deep starry eyes showed anticipation. I can't wait to see what the finished product of this TV series looks like. Tell me, as an investor, can I see the finished film in advance? The old man blinked. Chin Gray has a serious face. Professor, I still don't understand what this TV series means to us. Alright, it's not just the 3 agents who don't understand. Even Chin Gray, the investor's right-hand man, couldn't guess it. You will know, in the proper future. Charles has loved being a riddle since childhood. What if I want to know the answer right now? Jean Grey didn't intend to spoil Charles, she was a rather violent woman. Your personality is still so impatient. Charles smiled, slowly looked out the window, and suddenly asked a question again abruptly. You said before, that child's ability is scary even to you? Charles's tone seemed to be pure curiosity. If you are not counted, I have never seen such a powerful spiritual force. Chin. Grey recalled the feeling when he first tried Chu Mu. She is still in fear now. Charles didn't seem surprised at all. He glanced at Jean Grey meaningfully. This is also one of the meanings of my investment. A calm voice full of magnetism. Jean Grey was stunned for a moment. Then, he understood the meaning of Charles's words. Chu Mu is very concerned about black robe pickets. He wanted to be a director in his previous life, even though he only wanted to be a director who could indulge in the rules to his heart's content, but he still had a director's dream. And it is also quite interesting to move Black Robe Picket to Marvel originally. Wait for the right time. Chu Mu is going to scoop up Captain America Steve to play the Soldier Boy. Proper, true color, starred. The ratings are bound to explode. Chu Mu is particularly concerned about the task of the Lost Director, which is actually related to the fact that this is his first identity in the Marvel Universe. In fact, according to the bronze level rewards, even the improvement of physical fitness is not very attractive to Chu Mu now. The so-called substantial increase. That's just a big improvement compared to ordinary people. After obtaining the identity of Raven Messenger, Chu Mu's body is steadily improving every day. This is probably a process of transformation from human body to body. If in the past Chu Mu could only easily lift a small car with one hand, now he can easily lift a large truck with one hand. Such a terrifying physical fitness seems to be similar to most Asgard Protoss. But even so, Chu Mu's physical fitness is still improving steadily day after day. I don't know if I can reach the level of single-handedly defeating Thor. Chu Mu checked the improvement of his physical fitness on a new day. Ordinary knives can't penetrate his skin, and the knives will shatter directly. This kind of physical fitness is absolutely completely immune to small-caliber pistol bullets. It's another day of lying down and becoming stronger. Chu Mu is very satisfied with the benefits brought by Raven Messenger. Early in the morning, after watching the beautiful financial woman Jiali eat 50 hamburgers, he also started to deal with today's affairs. It's naturally a lot of work to get it published. Fortunately, Sky and Ant may have done most of the hard work. Chu Mu only needs to sign and pretend to listen to Sky's report on the situation. After finishing the accumulated work these days, it was already past 8 p.m., but in the next few days, there was no need for Chu Mu to stay in the company anymore. How about being a boss? Chu Mu planned to take advantage of the time when the Black Robe was producing special effects to complete another bronze-level identity task. Bar owner. The reward for this status is better than nothing. Going to see this industry that I have created out of thin air is also a relaxing leisure trip. After half a month, Black Robe is released. I'm afraid he will have to be busy for a while. There are so many black technologies in the Marvel Universe. I didn't expect to render the special effects in half a month. In my previous world, it would take at least several months. Chu Mu stepped forward, and Raven flew under his feet. The next moment, he was teleported to the outskirts, on a road that was inaccessible and unsurveilled. Since obtaining the status of Raven Messenger, Chu Mu has basically never taken transportation. Even fighter jets in S.H.I.E.L.D. are probably not as fast as him. It should be this way. Chu Mu found the right direction in the wilderness, and psychokinesis directly controlled himself to take off, and then there was a terrifying sonic boom in the air. The acceleration to the supersonic state in a few tenths of a second is estimated to be only possible in psychokinesis, a state driven by this super scientific force. It can be said. Speed of thought. It is the flight speed that Chu Mu can achieve. Today's speed beyond fighter jets is only because Chu Mu's current physical fitness can't bear the faster psychokinesis drive. It's so cool. It turns out that the biggest dream of human beings is flight. After Chu Mu obtained the status of bar owner, he naturally knew the address of the bar, and after finding the direction, he flew all the way. Among the wheat fields encountered along the road. After Chu Mu flew past, the piles of wheat were crushed by the terrifying airwaves generated by the ultra-high speed. New York is less than 3,000 kilometers away from Texas, and it took Chu Mu more than 10 minutes to reach his destination. It's just that the departure time was relatively late, and when he arrived at his destination, the moon was already hanging high over the land of Texas. Isn't this bar saying that the business has been very good? Chu Mu landed in front of the bar on a piece of yellow sand next to the interstate highway, imagining the situation where a large number of runaway motorcyclists crowded around the door of the bar, and did not see. Even Chu Mu didn't feel the atmosphere that a bar should have in this wooden house. Not only is there no light in the bar, but the atmosphere is dead silent. Is this the so-called paradise for motorcycle racers? Maybe it's closed today. Chu Mu knew that this bar had always had a manager, and he didn't know what was going on now, just when he was about to make a call to the manager. Another poor human being delivered to the door. A handsome young man in a black windbreaker came out of the bar door. His movements were elegant like an ancient nobleman. Chu Mu couldn't help being slightly taken aback when he saw the young man's face. "Mortal, tell me, are you also here to look for Angel?" The handsome young man raised his hand, and a corpse flew out of the bar, and he picked it up. It was a mummy that was no longer human. On the arm of the mummy, there was an angel's wing tattoo that looked ironic in today's situation. Chu Mu recognized it. This is the bar of the house bar. It's a pity, Angel will never take care of you in this world. The handsome young man's tone was quite mocking, and his eyes suddenly turned as black as ink. Wow! A burst of lightning happened to flash across the sky at this time. Immediately, the lightning illuminated the handsome young man's face, and under the pale face, there seemed to be a looming hideous face. It was the face of a devil. Now it's interesting. Chu Mu looked at the son of Mo Faith in front of him. His eyes narrowed slightly. Mo Faith Tuo's son. Witch Heart Demon. Chu Mu definitely recognized the identity of this handsome young man. He at the moment just felt very uncomfortable. It feels like being targeted by the Almighty Eye. There are obviously so many bars in the world. Why did he give him this bar that was harmed by the Witch Heart Demon? Clatter. There was another movement in the bar, and a dark wind with a strange smile blew out from inside. The piercing sound made people feel very uncomfortable. Ha ha ha, new toy, boss. Did you find us another toy because you knew we didn't have fun? The strangely smiling Yin Feng turned into a long-haired man beside the Witch Heart Demon. His appearance was quite artistic, especially his mouth full of buck teeth was quite Picasso style. Wind Demon. This guy's name is not difficult to guess. He is one of the henchmen of the Witch Heart Demon. He looks at Chu Mu as if he is looking at some food. I like the way these humans look when they are desperate. Another dog leg came out of the bar. It was a water monster dripping with water. Water Demon. Feng Demon. This guy is mine. None of you can snatch it from me. Wu Xinmo looked at the two subordinates standing beside him. Clear. The Wind Demon and Water Demon immediately lowered their heads in awe. It's worth it for the boss to do it himself. A man wearing a leather jacket with a rebellious face also came out of the bar. The man held a withered woman's head in his hand, and looked at Chu Mu with a playful look. He is an earth demon. Same as the other two dogs. They are all demons left in the world, my poor bartender. Chu Mu recognized the identity of the owner of the head, a sexy and cheap beautiful female bartender who is a major factor in the good business of his bar. So, can I pretend that I'm passing by? Chu Mu didn't have any sympathy for a few people he didn't know at all. He didn't want to have any conflicts with the demons, but judging by the appearances of the demons, I'm afraid this matter can't be just for the sake of saving face. What do you think? The Witch Heart Demon laughed arrogantly. I am a person who advocates peace. Why are you looking for trouble when nothing happens? Chu Mu sighed heavily and was ready to fight. Really, there is no way to reason with the devil. A good citizen like him, who still wants to abide by the law even if his property is destroyed, can only resort to force as a last resort. Huh. Seeing Chu Mu's performance, Wu Xinmo couldn't help but tilted his head, and his expression became a little puzzled. You don't seem to be afraid of us. If it were someone else, you should have been scared. It's right that the Wah screamed. Talking. The Witch Heart Demon twitched his nose again. And your soul smells wonderful. A trace of greed flashed across the Witch Heart Demon's eyes. He started walking towards Chu Mu slowly. Tell me, why is your soul so special? Witch Heart Demon's pupils were dark and gloomy, and his smiling mouth began to become extremely ferocious. The appearance of a human is just his disguise. His body is a red-eyed demon with a mouth full of sharp teeth and looks like a medieval vampire. There is one thing to say. Wu Xinmo, who doesn't change into a demon, is still quite handsome, and there is only a few dozen Wu Yanzu difference between him and Chu Mu. After changing, it really doesn't conform to human aesthetics at all. Witch Heart Demon, to be honest, I don't think you were making the right choice. Chu Mu watched as the demon in front of him began to approach. His eyes narrowed slightly. The incomparably majestic psychokinesis was launched immediately, hitting the Witch Heart Demon like a heavy hammer, directly hammering the unexpected Witch Heart Demon into the air. Rumbling, the Witch Heart Demon rolled and flew out like a cannonball, broke several big trees, and hit the last wooden bar hard. Touch, with huge amounts of movement. The whole bar was smashed and collapsed. What? What happened? The three dog-legged demons never expected that their boss would be smashed into the bar by an invisible attack before even getting close to Chu Mu. The way they looked at Chu Mu suddenly changed. This person is not an ordinary person, no wonder he still looks calm when he sees the devil. Mutants. Wu Xinmo also misunderstood Chu Mu's identity, and he got out of the ruins of the bar with an angry forehead, and the dust all over the sky made his image very messy. Only. After rushing out from the ruins of the bar, the witch heart demon did not attack again immediately. He remembered that Chu Mu had called him by his name before. It seems you know us well. The witch heart demon looked at Chu Mu with some doubts in his eyes. He is worried that Chu Mu is Merfaith's eagle dog. Definitely, Prince of Hell, Witch Heart Demon, and his 3 henchmen, your identities are no secret to me. Chu Mu gently raised his hand. Beside, the road stretching hundreds of meters was pulled up out of thin air by him, flying in the air like a dragon, with a terrifying sense of oppression. The 3 demons seemed to be a little scared. The mutant in front of them was a bit scary, reminding them of another mutant who had drunk in this bar, but that mutant controlled metal like a dragon. That time. They can be taught a lesson. You should call me the King of Hell. The witch heart demon was not intimidated. He yelled at Chu Mu angrily, I will establish my own kingdom in this world. Good guy. This is trying to build a new hell with the Saint Van Gonzal contract with only a few hundred souls. Chu Mu was speechless. This Prince of Hell probably has something wrong with his brain. Mado Faith doesn't dare to act wildly on the earth, and the witch heart demon actually thinks that a few hundred souls are enough to build a new hell? Indeed. Those are the souls of hundreds of devout believers, but what about the most devout believers? Apart from Ancient One, it's not like there are other giants on earth. How could Faith, who is so full of demons, have such a stupid son? Chu Mu only thinks that Mo Faith should take Wu Xinmo to do a paternity test. I don't know if the hospital can provide this service to the demons. Mo Faith should take you to cure your brain. Chu Mu controlled a long concrete dragon, and it smashed towards the witch heart demon like a mountain slope. Forever. The witch heart demon turned into a demon directly. His eyes were scarlet, and a black mist that stretched hundreds of meters around him radiated from his body. Don't mention his name in front of me. Wrapped in a large swath of black mist, the witch heart demon broke through the blockade of the long concrete dragon, and flew towards the direction where Chu Mu was standing. Where the black mist passes, everything is corrupted. My strength may come from him, but I will eventually surpass him. It's a pity, mortal, you probably won't see that day coming. The witch heart demon turned into a billowing black mist that covered the sky and the sun. Wherever you go, everything seemed to wither away, even materials such as concrete turned into black powder and fell one after another in Setsuna. The road that Chu Mu pulled up from the ground before could not stop the witch heart demon's footsteps at all, and was crushed into ashes almost in a single encounter. Your mutant method is very good, but unfortunately, for me in this state, no matter how powerful my spiritual power is, I can't touch me at all. Do you know mind control? You can try it on me. Hee, you will find interesting facts. The atomized witch heart demon laughed wildly. Chu Mu definitely knew that this guy didn't have a soul, and mind control would most likely not have any effect. In fact, he didn't have the means of mind control now. Noisy. Chu Mu tried to use psychokinesis to dispel the black mist turned into witch heart demon. Pity. The effect is obviously not good. He could only raise his hand again immediately, and a large amount of yellow sand was thrown from the ground, as well as all kinds of streetlights, cars and other things around him. The extremely raging storm was created by Chu Mu, and it swept across the land crazily, uprooting all the trees with a radius of several kilometers and mixing them with it. The terrifying storm seemed to swallow everything, and countless debris flew in it. Under the control of Chu Mu, this storm collided with the black mist transformed by the witch heart demon. Boom, under the general movement as if the sky is collapsing. Raging energy is raging. Everything on the ground was once again destroyed in a new round. As the wind howled, the flocks of birds in the sky also fell one after another. The 3 dog-legged demons, who had never seen such a battle before, all hurriedly found a place to hide, for fear that they would be involved in such a large-scale battle. This human is actually so strong. The water demon's eyes widened in shock. Boss won't lose, right? The earth demon showed worry on his face. What joke are you talking about? The boss's power has not yet been fully displayed. How can a mere mutant be the opponent of the new master of hell? Feng Mo is very confident in Wu Xinmo's strength. The fact is indeed as he expected. Although the collision of the 2 forces caused a huge commotion, after the forces annihilated each other, the black mist transformed into the witch heart demon still continued to charge unabated. Good opponent. As a gift to your strong status, I allow you to become a part of me and one of the nutrients for me to ascend to the supreme god throne. The witch heart demon was still grinning. His ability is to devour other souls, devour other lives, and gain powerful power from other lives and souls. Now, he is very satisfied with Chu Mu's strength. Once Chu Mu was devoured, the witch heart demon felt that he would be more confident in finding the legendary contract. Even if Modo Faith sends Ghost Rider, he no longer has any worries and fears. You are a poor wretch. Chu Mu didn't panic in the slightest. He controlled himself to retreat rapidly in the air while pulling up the concrete dragon from the ground to stop the witch heart demon's speed. Ignorant guy. Do you think you can build a new hell, a new kingdom of God if you get the so-called Saint Van Gonzal contract? Chu Mu's tone was full of sneer. It is true that the witch heart demon in front of him is self-motivated, but he just has no brains to believe that the contract of Saint Van Gonzal has power beyond the human world. You don't understand anything at all. Stop hiding. Let me eat you. Your soul is destined to belong to me. The heart witch's face stretched out from the black mist, his mouth full of sharp teeth was ferocious and terrifying, and his flight speed began to surpass Chu Mu. The distance between the two sides started to zoom in rapidly. I don't understand. Chu Mu saw the black mist approaching wildly. The expression on his face was still calm, and he even wanted to laugh out loud as if he had heard some joke. He may not have many masters who understand Marvel, but in front of a stinky brother like Wu Zinmo, he feels that he can also be a king of understanding. Transcender, Observer, Time Administration, Sacred Timeline, have you heard of these? You haven't. Chu Mu calmly faced the witch heart demon who rushed forward. Sharp teeth. Want to delay time with me? Hee hee. Your struggle is in vain. It is your destiny to be a part of me. The black mist transformed by the witch heart demon seemed to have opened its giant mouth covering the sky, completely covering the sky, trying to envelop Chu Mu in it. Huh. Another guy who mentioned fate to me. Chu Mu looked up at the black fog that surrounded him with nowhere to escape, and he made a decisive decision, a rather risky decision. Definitely. He'll make sure he always has a way out. Raven's teleportation after all. It was his trump card to leave the battle. Then. Let's see who is the last one alive. Chu Mu stopped all actions suddenly. I didn't fight back either. He just watched the black mist envelop him, and then slowly lead himself into the rotten darkness. The witch heart demon only thought that it was Chu Mu giving up resistance. However, is this really the case? Bang, bang, bang. Chu Mu could feel that the black mist was trying to digest him, an unprecedented crisis had come, and he felt the infinite fear that death was imminent. That's how it feels. Chu Mu licked his chapped lips. His heart. Strong and powerful beating. It drives a certain substance in the soul to become active. This was exactly what Chu Mu wanted to see, and it was also his gamble. As death approached, some dormant power in his body began to awakening. Chu Mu is clear. That is, my divinity, put yourself in a dangerous situation. Chu Mu actually wanted to force out the hidden divinity in his body. When he obtained the status of Raven Messenger, before, he had thought about how to ignite the fire of divinity. Crisis, the crisis of death, is definitely a way with a high success rate. Chu Mu is betting. Then, he won the bet. The power hidden deep in the soul was touched and began to ripple in Chu Mu's body. Chu Mu felt that every cell in his body was ignited. That is a qualitative change. Boom. Incomparably majestic energy surged in his body, as if a star exploded in Setsuna, and the energy surged endlessly in his body. Just for a moment, Chu Mu felt stronger than ever. This is my divinity. Chu Mu murmured softly, his skin surface seemed to burn with a layer of golden flames, and his eyes also turned into a bright and shining golden color at this moment. The oppressive power continued to grow on Chu Mu, and the aura gradually became violent, making the witch heart demon who was digesting Chu Mu subconsciously feel a strong danger. What are you doing? The witch heart demon yelled in horror. He found that he could no longer digest the essence of Chu Mu. Not only that, the flame burning on Chu Mu's body is actually still obliterating his essence. Large expanses of black mist turned into nothingness under the flames on the surface of Chu Mu's body. Completely reduced to non-existent matter, it can never be recovered again. It's a wonderful feeling. Chu Mu at the moment's eyes were cold and majestic, under the golden light, he looked like a god that existed in ancient times. You ask me what I'm doing. The gold in Chu Mu's eyes became brighter and brighter, definitely is teaching you, don't just swallow others into your stomach. The voice fell. Two bright golden beams of light spewed out from his eyes, as if turning into two dragons, roaring and tearing apart the atomized body of the witch heart demon. Do not. Accompanied by the hissing and lung-piercing pain of the witch heart demon. The dazzling beam of light tore through the boundless black mist and rushed straight into the sky with unstoppable power. The originally dark night seemed like day at this moment. Night sky. It seems that they are all set on fire. The water demon, the earth demon, and the wind demon, the three demons who are not weak, can already feel the fear from the bottom of their hearts just by seeing this scene. How could he be so powerful? The three demons had already started to tremble. They were extremely painful at the moment under the beam of light, but there was nowhere to hide, and a bad premonition arose in the hearts of the three demons. Maybe. We seem to have offended some existence that shouldn't be offended. You are erasing my existence. No. How could you have such power? You are mere mortal. The witch heart demon who was attacked by Chu Mu felt the most uncomfortable. He felt that part of his essence had been annihilated and could never be restored, and he had no idea why Chu Mu possessed such an appalling power. This kind of power can annihilate even demons. It is simply unheard of. The painful heart witch roared. He didn't dare to continue the state of the black mist any longer. The shattered black mist fell to the ground and turned into a handsome human figure again. It's just that compared to the previous calm, Wu Xinmo's expression is extremely frightened now. He looked at Chu Mu who was slowly falling to the ground and immediately yelled. Don't come here. I admit defeat. Maybe we can talk. Witch heart demon is a proud guy, but it doesn't mean he won't be afraid of destruction. It's not death. It's real non-existence. You hate your father, but you, like your father, have the habit of doing business. Chu Mu mockingly looked at the embarrassed witch heart demon. He shook his head slightly, his golden eyes were full of indifference. Unfortunately, I don't want to make any deal with the devil. The voice fell. Chu Mu, who was standing at a position hundreds of meters away from Wu Xinmo, appeared in front of Wu Xinmo in an instant. This kind of speed that even the devil couldn't capture made the pupils of the witch heart demon shrink sharply. He couldn't understand what changed in Chu Mu's body. It can only be said, even if you are the prince of hell, you will suffer a disadvantage if you do not read enough. In fact, it is not that the witch heart demon is ignorant of divinity. It's just that godliness is different for every god, and the witch heart demon who doesn't even understand the soul contract naturally doesn't think about it. A human being. How is it possible to be a god? Devil, tell me now, who will be the last one alive? Chu Mu picked up Wu Xinmo directly, and punched Wu Xinmo on the head. The gold in his eyes was like a flame swaying, and there was a golden streamer attached to his fist. After hitting the witch heart demon's head heavily, there was a terrifying ripple. The witch heart demon was harder than steel. Most of the head was directly shattered. The black debris splashed in the air, but because of the golden flame attached to it, it was directly burned up in Setsuna. You can't treat me like this. The witch heart demon found that there was no way to repair his head. For the first time, he felt that the destruction was close at hand. Unlimited fear began to breed in the heart of the Prince of Hell. Oh? Aren't you on the supreme throne? Chu Mu raised his fist again, and there was a bit of contempt in his golden eyes. Why? God also begs for mercy. Another punch. Most of witch heart demon's head was shattered again, leaving only a mouth and half of his cheek, and he struggled frantically full of fear. My father is Mo Faith, Lord of Hell. If you kill me, he will avenge me. You will also be destroyed. Good guy. Don't mention that person's name before, and now it's my father Mo Faithto. Is this the fantasy version of my dad being a gang? Maybe there are many people in this world who are really afraid of Moto. Or maybe even Ancient One has to sell faith to save face. However, Chu Mu is precisely the rarest group of people who have no fear of Mo Faith. What Hell Lord is actually nothing more than a dimension Mephisto. Ha ha. Chu Mu is not afraid of Mo Faith's revenge at all. He knows Mo Faith's real body, and there is no way for him to come to this earth. If it's just the duplication of Faith Moto, he can kill as many as there are. I'm not sure if my future will be destroyed, but I can be sure that today will definitely be the end of your destiny. In the future. You will only be a piece of forgotten history. The golden color in Chu Mu's eyes began to shine again. I agree with one of your words, that is. Chu Mu's eyes were as dazzling as the sun, making the witch heart demon dare not look directly at them. Turn it into my nourishment. Chu Mu returned the words of the witch heart demon intact. Next moment. Terrifying rays shot out from his eyes, with a terrifying power to annihilate everything, illuminating and igniting the entire body of the witch heart demon. In the wilderness. It became as bright as day again. In the burning of the golden flames, the witch heart demon stepped into destruction step by step with extremely painful wailing. What? Accompanied by the hissing and lung-piercing roar of the witch heart demon, before his body was completely burned, another terrifying shockwave erupted on the ground. Wherever the shockwave passed, the ground shook, the vegetation shattered, and among the huge waves of dust and smoke several meters high, Chu Mu's body remained motionless. My father will not let you go. The witch heart demon cursed viciously, The last essence in his body was burned out, and he could no longer condense into a human form and collapsed into dust. In situ. Only a ray of the essence of hell was left, which floated into Chu Emu's body. Chu Mu watched this scene indifferently and accepted the essence. The source of hell turned into fuel in his body, and the golden light in his eyes burned even more vigorously. As the source of hell was completely absorbed by him, the Prince of Hell, who was originally invincible, no longer existed in this world. Markov. Even if someone goes back in time, the witch heart demon cannot be resurrected. This is what Chu Mu said, becoming a forgotten history. I didn't expect. My divinity is so domineering. Feeling the power from the soul, Chu Mu couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Unlike Thor's lightning, Loki's illusion, and other so-called Protoss divinity, his divinity is more unique. It is the power that any Protoss will change color after hearing it, the power of devouring God. As the name suggests, it is to let Chu Mu have the power to kill gods and devour the origin of the gods. Demons cannot be avoided either. This is a terrifying power that needs to use the lives of gods and demons to lay the foundation of divinity, forge the fire of divinity, and become the king of god-eaters. It's no wonder that even Chu Mu feels overbearing. Just now, Chu Mu used this power to devour the source of the witch heart demon. As a result, the fire of divinity in his body increased several times. After all, he is the son of Mi-Faith, and the origin comes from Mi-Faith's hell. If it weren't for Chu Emu's divine power and his ability to restrain gods and demons, his victory would not have been so easy. I don't know how much improvement ordinary demons can bring. Chu Mu turned his attention to the three henchmen of the witch heart demon. This kind of divinity is not without disadvantages. That is, when Chu Mu ignites the fire of divinity, there will be an insatiable sense of hunger and thirst. It's as if he wants to devour everything he sees. Fortunately, Chu Emu's spiritual power is very strong, so he won't get lost in the power. We are willing to surrender to you. The three demons have been frightened silly by Chu Mu. Witnessing that the witch heart demon was killed, they didn't dare to run away, and quickly fell to their knees on the ground, expressing their submission to Chu Mu. The three elemental demons could indeed be of great use. Only. Sorry, I hate demons. Chu Mu showed a very apologetic expression. The golden light in his eyes became brighter and brighter, and the three demons felt the threat of death. You can't sit still. Although the three demons knew that Chu Mu was a terrible enemy, in the current situation, seeing Chu Mu was about to kill all three of them. The earth demon launched an attack on Chu Mu first. He merged into the ground, and the next moment, he rushed to Chu Emu's feet. The ground under Chu Emu's feet suddenly became muddy. A pair of big hands. It came out directly from the swampy ground, grabbed Chu Emu's ankles suddenly, and tried to drag Chu Mu to the ground. Facing this sudden attack, Chu Mu smiled happily. I think you may not know anything about strength. Chu Mu squatted down suddenly, and pulled the earth demon out of the soil with his backhand. Now that he has ignited his divinity, when his divine power bursts out, his power is by no means inferior to that of Thor. A mere demon from hell wants to pull him down. Say goodbye to this world. The golden light in Chu Emu's eyes shined again, illuminating the surrounding environment once again, directly burning the terrified earth demon to ashes. A small amount of original power poured into Chu Emu's physical energy. It was indeed very little, but it was better than nothing. Chu Mu turned to look at the other two demons. The look in his eyes now is the same as the way the demons looked at him before, full of jokes. Tisk tisk, look, between us, the roles have been reversed. Seeing the earth demon being easily tortured and killed by Chu Mu, the remaining two demons were scared out of their wits. They all turned into elemental forms and wanted to escape for their lives. Even if they knew that there was little hope of escaping, if they didn't escape, they would have to wait for death in place. How could there be such a terrifying human existence? The two demons wanted to escape, but unfortunately, Chu Mu is not the kind of character who likes to keep alive. Well, it seems that you don't have my guts. Chu Mu raised his hand. Psychokinesis kicks in. The two demons were directly pulled over. Their elementalization is not as good as that of witch heart demons, so naturally they cannot resist the influence of psychokinesis. Don't want. Forgive me. Forgive me. The water demon and the wind demon shouted in horror. They were terrified to find that even their elemental bodies, which could be elementalized, were quickly annihilated under the light of the faint flowing fire on the surface of Chu Emu's body. No way. The two demons could only change back into human form and beg for mercy. Sorry, this is for my bar. Chu Mu didn't talk nonsense. His eyes lit up, and he wiped out the two demons with the rays formed by divine fire. Two more sources poured into his body, turned into the fuel of divine fire. Chu Mu has a feeling. If the fuel of the divine fire can be accumulated to a sufficient level, maybe his divine fire can bring him a huge amounts of surprise. Definitely. To get to that level, I don't know how many gods and demons have to be burned. The witch heart demon and the 3 head-adding demons still haven't satisfied 1% of the appetite of the divine fire. I don't know if burning Odin will satisfy me. Dangerous thoughts rose in Chu Emu's mind, but he quickly suppressed them. The god king of Asgard had no grievances with him in the past, and he had no vendettas in recent days. Even if he was looking for someone to burn, he should go to someone like Mo Faith. This desire to devour gods and demons should be regarded as the root of my divinity. The light in Chu Emu's eyes and the flowing fire on his body gradually dimmed. His divinity will be silenced. Thinking and thinking is to restore the former sanity. Every god has a flaw, and his flaw is that insatiable appetite. Definitely. Chu Emu's mind is strong enough. Don't worry about being too seriously affected. After a great battle with the demons from hell, Chu Mu felt helpless looking at the desolate wasteland. Originally, I came to complete the decoration task of the bar, but I didn't expect to lose the whole bar by accident. Maybe I can sue the bad guy first, say it was an accident caused by a natural disaster, and then ask the insurance company to pay me for a new bar. Chu Mu suddenly had a flash of inspiration. A great idea came to mind. He played the role of Homelander, and even though he was paid a lot of money, as well as being paid as a director, he was not really a rich man. Although it is indeed enough to rebuild the bar, Chu Mu thinks that if you can save money, you can save money, which is also a good habit that a good citizen should have. Insurance companies have cheated so many people, it's time for them to be cheated. Natural disaster compensation insurance. Chu Mu remembered that this bar did buy this kind of insurance. Definitely, before applying for insurance, Chu Mu has to go back to New York to get rid of the relationship. Am I too bad? Chu Mu muttered to himself, and then used psychokinesis to soar into the sky, and disappeared into the dark clouds after a sonic boom in the sky. Rumble. After a while, there was an unusually loud thunder at the location of the ruins of the bar. After a burst of thunder and lightning pierced the night sky, the old man in luxurious clothes walked out of the thunder and lightning. Under the light of the thunder and lightning, his face showed an incomparably ferocious appearance. Witch heart demon, my son. Modo Faith looked at the silent ruins. The expression is very angry. He felt the disappearance of the witch heart demon, and came here after the last trace of the witch heart demon, but he did not find any trace of the murderer. For witches. In fact, Mo Faith didn't really care much. But someone erased the traces of the witch heart demon, which was a slap in the face of him. To know. Even if Ancient One finds out that the heir of Mo Faith is wreaking havoc in the world, as long as Ancient One is not angered, Ancient One will only choose to beat his heir back to the world. Such an act of completely erasing the existence of the witch heart demon without showing any sympathy is, in Mo Faith's view, a challenge to his authority. No matter who it is, I will make him pay the price. Mo Faith knocked on the crutch in his hand, and an endless black mist enveloped him in it. The appearance of a devil. Looming. The mighty roar seems to be resounding throughout the world. Definitely, but in fact it is just echoing around the ruins. Mo Faith's duplication has extremely limited power in the human world. He knows that the existence that can kill witch heart demons will definitely not be afraid of his duplication. Therefore, he decided to use the cards left in the world. This is worth it. In hell, what is most important? Definitely is the face of the card. Modo Faith didn't want to be ridiculed by other dimensional lords, so, at the moment, he vowed to capture the murderer's soul and torture him for 10,000 years. No. I want to make that murderer regret forever. After a burst of roaring and roaring, Modo Faith merged into the space. Chu Mu, who had just flown to the suburbs of New York, couldn't help but sneeze. According to the physique of the Protoss, a cold is definitely not a cold. So, Chu Mu pondered. This should be the beautiful employees in the company dreaming about him. Maybe it's the kind of dream that makes the heart beat faster. Texas. In the garage of a motorcycle club. A professional motorcycle driver, Johnny Blazer, repaired and adjusted his motorcycle by himself after everyone rested. Outside. Originally, it was a beautiful night scene with shining stars, but while Johnny Blazer was drinking his saliva, he saw through the glass window that there was suddenly lightning and thunder outside the house. This damn weather, Johnny Blazer complained. Draw the curtains. He started repairing motorcycles again. The violent storm began to howl outside the window, accompanied by constant lightning continuously illuminating the night sky. Wow, the sudden movement startled Johnny Blazer. He quickly looked not far away. It turned out that the cross hanging on the wall fell to the ground and knocked down a can of red paint. The paint stained the crucified Jesus. Look. It's like the scarlet blood that flowed out after Jesus was brutally persecuted. Johnny Blazer stepped forward, frowning, and cleaned up the scene. He thinks this is a bad omen, especially when the show is about to start tomorrow. Johnny Blazer is the most popular stunt biker in the United States, Johnny the so-called immortal. The media are all praising him. He can always escape from Death God. However, in fact, only Johnny Blazer himself knew that his narrow escapes were not because of his fate, but because he made a deal with the devil. If I could do it all over again. Johnny Blazer looked at himself in the mirror with sad eyes. He couldn't fall asleep without sleeping pills now. The original experience. It was the nightmare that plagued Johnny Blazer. Johnny. Suddenly. Just when Johnny Blazer recalled the past. A voice rang out from outside the club. This is definitely the voice that Johnny Blazer will never forget in his life. Mo Faith, the devil who came out of hell. What? Are you planning to lie to me again? Johnny Blazer first felt fear, and then his heart was filled with anger. He picked up a double-barreled shotgun, and was just about to rush out to fight for his life. When he looked up, he saw a black figure standing at the gate. The gray-haired old man. Moto's incarnation of faith. It's you, the devil. You want me to help you accomplish dirty things by saving my life. Johnny Blazer raised his hand and shot. Pity. Although Moto's incarnation of faith is not strong, this kind of ordinary weapon is still unable to cause a little damage to Moto. A shotgun won't stop the devil. Mo Faith didn't care about Johnny Blazer's unreasonableness at all. He stepped into the garage, and walked gracefully and slowly in front of Johnny Blazer. My father was killed by you. Johnny Blazer fired several shots again, but it was still useless. He threw away the shotgun in a slump, and stared at Faith with gritted teeth. I completed our deal and cured his disease, didn't I? Moto Faith looked innocent and looked quite cunning. But you still took his life. Johnny Blazer had tears in his eyes. He didn't know how to fight this devil. Johnny, everyone is mortal, that's fate. As for your narrow escapes, it really has nothing to do with me. I've always been your biggest car fan. Mo Faith's tone was full of bewitching. He showed the expression that a fanatic fan should have, and then whispered softly in Johnny Blazer's ear. The newspaper, the news, the TV. There are so many voices in it, all the time screaming, Johnny, Johnny. That's your name. Looking at all this, to be honest, I'm proud of you. Mo Faith suddenly put his hand on Johnny Blazer's shoulder. The thunder and lightning outside the house illuminated his devil's face, which shocked Johnny Blazer, but Johnny Blazer found that he couldn't move at all. Mo Faith gently moved to Johnny Blazer's ear. You are my investment, the one I am most satisfied with, so don't let me down. Now it's time for you to fulfill our agreement. On Mo Faith's old face, there is a ferocious devil's face looming, and his voice is full of unquestionable taste. My son was killed. I need you to help me find the murderer, and then bring that daring lunatic to see me. Don't kill him. Let me do it. Mo Faith whispered hell in Johnny Blazer's ear, and flames began to rise in his eyes. That is fire from hell. Definitely, before completing this task, you have to do one thing for me, to bring me the contract that belongs to me. Mo Faith definitely wants to find Chu Mu, but his concern for the witch heart demon is only to maintain his own card. Therefore, after awakening Johnny Blaze, he still hasn't forgotten the contract coveted by the witch heart demon. The souls of the saints are a rare delicacy. It should be able to appease the anger of losing his son. Moto Faith thought to himself. The smile on his face looked extremely evil. Do not. Johnny Blazer roared angrily. What? No. My knight, you have no right to refuse me. Faith Thor laughed very contemptuously. You signed a contract with me. Oh, that's the most wonderful thing. It will ensure that you don't would turn their back on poor people like me. Watching keep roaring. Johnny Blazer with all the veins on his neck exposed. Mo Faith shook his head lightly. I understand, you have some emotions. Why don't you let me give you a little favor? Moto Faith's tone suddenly became serious. Complete the task I gave you, and I will give you freedom. And even return your soul. Mo Faith's tone was low and full of sharpening. I'm so generous, so don't let me down, as his voice fell. Ah. Johnny Blaze could only feel that something was ignited inside his body, and his internal organs were all roasted hot. You. Johnny Blazer roared. Sparks began to emerge from his body, and his flesh and eyeballs began to be covered with flames. The flames began to spread wildly, burning all his flesh and blood into ashes. Then, the vengeful spirit from hell appeared. Ghost Rider. This is definitely a profession that cannot be avoided in the Marvel Universe. Ghost Rider has many origins. However, Johnny Blaze is the original Ghost Rider. He is definitely the most special one. Roar. Johnny Blazer opened his arms and raised his head to the sky, roaring. Subsequently, he rode directly on a Harley motorcycle next to him, and the flames on his body spread to the motorcycle, changing the original material and essence of the motorcycle. The cool ghost motorcycle appeared. With the roar of the motorcycle engine, Ghost Rider flew out on the motorcycle amidst the roaring sound. In situ. Only a motorcycle tire track was left, and the tire track was still burning with a little spark. Faith watched as Ghost Rider's back gradually disappeared and finally merged into the city. He smiled confidently. No matter who the person who killed the witch heart demon is, as long as that person still has a soul, it is impossible to escape the night's trial. The vengeful spirit in Johnny Blazer used to be one of God's most powerful fighters. Chu Mu didn't know. Mo Faith has sent Ghost Rider to capture him. Chu Mu, who returned to New York, washed and lay down on the bed, and then fell asleep staring at the almighty eye, in his mind. Really don't say it. Looking at the almighty eye, an artifact known as the Eye of God, spinning in his mind, Chu Mu felt that it was better than any hypnotic ability song. Regarding the power of the almighty eye, Chu Mu sometimes wonders whether this thing is really related to God. Being able to fabricate an identity for a person out of thin air and change the history and process of the entire world is indeed like having the omnipotent power of God. Well, this God, it shouldn't be the God who pulls the hips in Marvel. How should I put it? I also come from a higher dimension. Chu Mu fell asleep amidst wild thoughts. I don't know if it's because psychokinesis has been used too many times today, and the task about hidden super ability has not been completed. Chu Mu felt that the nightmare he encountered tonight was more real than in the past. You failed my family. You failed her love for you. Superman was already roaring in the dream, punching and parrying Chu Mu. Chu Mu only felt that it was more painful than the previous dream. F***ku. I can do whatever I want. Chu Mu's role as Homelander these days is more or less affected by being too involved in the drama. He punched back at Superman's face, and just like that, the two hit each other from the Earth to a remote corner of the universe in a dream. What life cord and so on, I don't know how many times I died in my dream. The Tao has been wiped out. It should be said that the will of the universe has been broken up. Texas. After Chu Mu and Mo Faith left one after another, the deserted ruins looked extremely silent. After a while, the sky began to rain lightly. A young man in a brown windbreaker with an unshaven beard approached the ruins from a distance. He looked at the ruined wasteland and sighed heavily. You said there is my favorite bar here, and the big devil I need most now. Man, it's not a good habit to lie. The windbreaker man turned his head and looked behind him. A guy wearing a red tights, whose whole body was wrapped in fabric, and who was still whimpering when he stepped into this wasteland. If any Marvel fans here, you can recognize him as the famous Marvel cancer Deadpool. Impossible. You must have used some kind of magic. Deceived my eyes. Deadpool glared at the man in the windbreaker with a tone full of resentment. What do you think my magic is? Wishes come true. The man in the windbreaker didn't hesitate, he just stared back. He looked at Deadpool very seriously. Okay, freak. Whatever you want to do, now, immediately, send me back to my world. Hearing the words of the windbreaker man, Deadpool quit immediately. You want to go back before you owe me the favor? What do you take Master Deadpool's favor for? The corners of the windbreaker man's eyes twitched. I don't think you broke into my house and killed my bed partner. It's a favor I need to repay. The man in the windbreaker's tone was full of helplessness. That's a succubus, Deadpool yelled. He carried two cool long knives on his back. He looked like a cruel killer, but his behavior was as childish as a child. Oh. A Barbie doll pinned on the waist is even more funny. Have you ever thought that maybe I'm looking for the succubus? The man in the windbreaker spread his hands and stared at Deadpool without blinking. Oh, well, I really haven't thought about it, but she will suck you dry, and you don't have the perverted vitality of Master Deadpool. Talking. Deadpool drew a knife from his back and chopped off his own arm. After a while, a hand grew out of the severed wound. This is clearly a self-proclaimed demonstration. I used to sell kidneys, buying one and getting one free for wholesale, earning a total of $20 million. Deadpool's tone was full of pride. The man in the windbreaker had a complicated expression. Seriously, man, I know a pretty good psychiatrist, and I think you should go see his brain. If the man in the windbreaker hadn't tested Deadpool's identity, he would have suspected that this freak was a demon. How could a normal person hack himself? And the ability with the regrowth arm doesn't look like a normal person no matter how you look at it. Okay. How about this? You help me find the missing god in your place, and I will help you get rid of the demon king who is chasing and killing you. Fax began to talk about conditions with the man in the windbreaker. As I said, it is wishful thinking to use magic to divination God. You can only find me a big demon, and then I will use the big demon to fish an angel out to ask. The man in the windbreaker repeated himself before requirements. There must be a big devil here. I won't remember wrongly, I use my 100 little brothers. You let me look at my diary first. Deadpool suddenly took out a diary from behind his butt. Yes, there must be one here. I'll bet you 1,000 little brothers. Good guy. 1,000 little brothers. Don't you think that others can only cut with one knife? I really don't know. Why are you so obsessed with God? So what if you find him? The man in the windbreaker didn't understand Deadpool's obsession. You don't understand. Yes, you don't understand. I like to travel, you know. The kind of fun in various universes. Then I met a damn woman. She dared to pirate Uncle Deadpool's clothes. The most important thing is that she is not going to pay Uncle Deadpool the copyright fee. The pirated version dares to be arrogant in front of the genuine one. I must make her pay the price. Let her be Master Deadpool's servant for 1,000 years. Do not. 10,000 years. I will make her work 10 hours a day. Only give her 2 days off a week. Deadpool's tone was full of teeth gnashing. A woman, with your ability. Do you need to go to God? The man in the windbreaker just felt that the mental patient's thinking couldn't be understood. Because of the problem of bumping into the shirt. Going to God? This is not the most absurd. The most absurd thing is that there are girls who like this style of clothes. The man in the windbreaker looked at Deadpool's attire with as weird an expression as possible. I said you don't understand. That woman, only the omniscient and omnipotent God can deal with him. Deadpool grabbed the man in the windbreaker with his hands while talking. I am very optimistic about your God. Unlike ours, we the God of God is a hitchhiker. I learned this word from Ancient One. Well, it's not the one from this universe. It's an old man with a white beard. It's a scary guy. Finished. It doesn't matter whether the man in the windbreaker understands or not. There is no big devil here. I will take you to a place where there must be a big devil. Deadpool reached for his luxury limited supreme upgraded version of time travel bracelet. Next moment. The two of them disappeared in place, as if they had never appeared before. At the same time, New York. Chu Mew woke up from the nightmare. Why the hell am I dreaming about Deadpool breaking in? Chu Mew has never had 2 nightmares in one night. Today, I felt that kind of feeling. It was very uncomfortable, especially when I dreamed that Deadpool was chasing him and wanted to compete with him to see who had more capital. What AF*K? Chu Mew looked at the messy furniture around him, and knew that when he woke up, super ability must have experienced another brief loss of control. The manipulation of psychic power has become more and more stable recently. Maybe after a while, there will be no more nightmares to torture my sleep. Chu Mew got up and took a shower while thinking. There is a complete set of facilities in his office, and he uses automatic toilets when he poops. As for the sequelae of nightmares brought about by the hidden super ability user, during this period of time, Chu Mew has realized how tired those dreamers are at night. Even though he was only fighting Superman in his dream, he still felt tired after waking up. After washing, Chu Mew tested his strength habitually. Since he didn't have professional testing equipment, he could only use a small metal statue in his office to test. Even though Chu Mew has already awakened the fire of divinity, the physical growth brought about by the identity of Raven Messenger is still going on. And the growth rate is even faster than before. Chu Mew could feel that the increase in this day was completely worth the past half-month. In Chu Mew's hands, the hard metal statue at the moment is as fragile as a disposable plastic cup, which can be squeezed into a piece of flat scrap iron lightly. If the fire of divinity is ignited and divine power erupts, the power is estimated to be increased by about 50 times, and the speed will be 50 times faster than the current speed. That's why the witch heart demon couldn't capture Chu Mew's figure yesterday. His original movement speed and reaction have reached the level where he can dodge bullets. What is the concept of increasing 50 times more? Already faster than many mutants with haste ability. Just like Superman can compare the speed with the Flash, Chu Mew can even compare the speed with Quicksilver in the state of igniting the divine fire and bursting out with divine power. In fact, from this point of view, it can be found that the Protoss is indeed higher level than most mutants. There are also some rare special mutants that can wrestle with the Protoss. Definitely. In the process of igniting life and exploding divine power, the burden on Chu Mew is also heavy, and the main burden does not come from the body being unable to bear it. It's about the spiritual impact. Power comes at a price. Just like psychokinesis needs a long time to digest and control after obtaining it, Chu Mew can't bear it for a long time now under the burst of divinity. It's not that he will be hurt because of this, but that he may be controlled by emotions and become a god who has no other emotions but the desire to hunt. Probably the same situation as Odin's daughter Hela. Even though Chu Mew's spiritual power is quite strong, and he can temporarily suppress this divinity with reason, it still needs a long time of running in and adaptation. Chu Mew calculated a little bit. According to his current state, 12 hours may be the limit for him to ignite the fire of divinity. When this limit is reached, it is necessary to extinguish the fire of divinity. Otherwise there may be a risk of being suppressed by divinity to suppress humanity. It's like a 12-hour Super Saiyan mode. Chu Mu happily threw away the broken metal figurine in his hand. This duration is definitely sufficient, at least at the current stage, and the duration will be extended as the power of the mind increases in the future. Moreover, really encountered a difficult enemy. It's not that he can't maintain the fire of divinity with overload. Just need to take risks. Sky, pour me a cup of hot coffee and come in. Chu Mu still had something to do with the insurance company today. He tidied up his desk and was ready to fight with the insurance company. Don't our company have any new TV series to shoot recently? Sky yawned boredly after entering the office with a cup of hot coffee. Now, the Chu Mu company no longer needs to go downstairs to buy coffee. The company now has several high-end coffee machines, and can make any kind of coffee it wants, which is different from the pour and pour in the past. It has nothing to do with how much wool Chu Mu got from Charles. Mainly company culture. When employees see their bosses living in the company, they will naturally treat the company as if they were at home. The rich woman Jiali is the employee who has been influenced by the corporate culture. She's even set up over a dozen free retail vending machines at the company. Think about it. This is just a company with only 4 people including the boss. The scariest thing is that the person in charge of replenishment has to come several times a day to restock. Chu Mu didn't know whether the salary of $6,000 per month should be paid to Jiali. This girl seems to be richer than his boss by many times. Not yet. Chu Mu concentrated on preparing the materials for the phone call with the insurance company. Then, as the boss, shouldn't you look for business? Sky put down the coffee in his hand, and was a little worried about the company's future. I have a movie script in my hand. I just need an investor. Why don't you bring me an investor? Chu Mu replied without looking up. What script? Are there many characters? Is there any suitable for me? Sky looked expectant. It can be seen that she is very interested in acting. The movie is called Avengers. It tells the story of a group of troubled children on the Earth who save the world over and over again, and finally go to war with the overlord of the universe. Chu Mu replied jokingly. Cut, it's a blockbuster movie. Sky lost interest as soon as he heard it, because Hollywood has ruined everything about saving the world. I'm a professional director. If this movie is made, the richest playboy will probably rush to invest in me. Chu Mu picked up the coffee and took a sip with a smile on his face. I don't think a guy like Stark would be interested in any superhero movie, so you can blow it up here. Sky pouted. Leaving Chu Mu's office, saw Sky leave. Chu Mu straightened his throat. Then I started calling the insurance company. Development of things. It was completely different from what Chu Mu expected. The imagined quarrel and even the final meeting in court did not happen, and the insurance company agreed to pay the compensation very readily. Efficiency is fast. It's getting a little weird. Shouldn't it be to go to the site to investigate first, then determine the damage, then check whether there is any human factor, and finally send multiple salesmen to bargain with Chu Mu? Why did you agree to pay $1.3 million in one breath? Chu Mu received compensation far exceeding expectations. It was enough money for him to re-establish a bigger bar on the original land and decorate the whole bar into a pink paradise. However, Chu Mu was not happy. He only felt that all the hard work on his desk was wasted, and the dozens of pages of online materials were all wasted, and the phone number of the blind lawyer he finally found was meaningless. It hurt him more than making him lose money to Texas in turn. Do normal insurance companies have such a conscience? Definitely impossible. Damn Shield. Chu Mu is not a fool either. Naturally, he wanted to understand the reason on the spot. He was originally targeted by Shield, and the assets under his name will definitely be included in the monitoring of Shield. The operator just now was definitely from Shield, so maybe Mommy Falksha is still right next to the operator. He's willing to bet on Nick Fury's 10-year life extension. Chu Mu's curse could not be fulfilled after all. Because just as Chu Mu expected, Shield answered the insurance company's call, and Nick Fury himself was indeed right next to the operator. Chu Mu understands Shield. On the ocean. The pitch-black aircraft carrier is moving. It is as huge as a prehistoric monster, and it is already full of deterrence from a distance. In the space inside this aircraft carrier, there is even the most powerful organization in the world, Shield. Countless agents are busy in the high-tech space, and extremely noisy movements are constantly coming from various electronic instruments. Many incidents from all over the world are dealt with in this place, involving most of the paranormal events that are not known to the public. Although there are no special capable people in originally, the duty of S.H.I.E.L.D. is still to maintain the fragile peace and stability of this world. If you put aside the fact that S.H.I.E.L.D. is nosy and always messes things up, the original intention of this organization is still very good. How did he say? Nick Fury stood beside the operator and asked with a serious expression. After he learned of the accident in Texas, he immediately investigated the place where the accident happened, which belonged to the suspicious director. Intuition told Nick Fury that the accident in Texas was definitely not a natural disaster. Especially after Phil Coulson inspected the site, he was even more certain of this point. How could there be a natural disaster so terrifying that it destroyed the underground defense cables? If there is such a natural disaster, the affected area should be wider, and relevant meteorological experts should also detect it in advance. Target said. Mare fake oil. The operator answered Nick Fury's question with some hesitation. Huh. After compensating him for so much money, it's enough for him to build 2 bars, and he's still not satisfied with swearing at you. Nick. Fury frowned. I feel that the character of this target is extremely bad. No. He's not scolding me. The operator was still hesitant, with a troubled expression on his face. I want to listen to the exact words. Nick. Fury was a little annoyed. He just took off the earphones on his ears because he wanted to clean his ears. He told me to tell the person standing next to me. Mare fake oil. The operator was a little worried that he would have to clean the toilet tomorrow. He showed an awkward and helpless smile to his boss, Nick Fury, who was standing next to him, to show that it was the boss who asked me to say the exact words. Nick Fury's already dark face turned darker. What is this all about? He knew that Chu-Mu must be aware of the existence of these agents, and even Charles had already told Chu-Mu S.H.I.E.L.D. But, is it really okay to be so arrogant? Is S.H.I.E.L.D. really vegetarian? This last conversation, don't record it in the file. Nick Fury instructed the operator and walked into another room with a grim expression. He is very angry, but he also knows. Don't lose your temper casually now. Restraint. How? Have you analyzed this guy's situation? Nick Fury didn't dare lose his temper because of a video intercepted on the internet yesterday. I see. In the room that Nick Fury walked into, Natasha Romanoff, Hill Agent, Agent May, and Phil Coulson, the novice village, were all there. A group of people. Now they are gathering in front of an LCD screen, discussing a video with a very dignified expression. This is a very clear video. At the beginning, there were stars twinkling in the night sky, and then, a figure suddenly flashed in front of the camera like a pop. The owner of the shot seemed to have realized something, and wanted to use the camera to capture the figure, but unfortunately, he was unable to capture the figure in the lens again. My God! Is that a person? There was a loud voice of exclamation coming from the video. If Chu-Mu is here, it can be recognized at a glance. The figure captured in the screen is him. After beating the witch heart demon, he hurried back to New York, and he was photographed on Chu-Mu Road like those careless UFOs. S.H.I.E.L.D. has a dedicated agency. Monitor those videos that appear on the web. Once there is a supernatural element, it will be intercepted and passed to headquarters for verification. Now the video can be placed in front of several top agents and S.H.I.E.L.D. director. Obviously the video has been verified without any trace of PS. This is a rich second generation who wanted to take pictures of the stars at night. He used high-end camera equipment to capture the picture. At that time, the 3 girlfriends of the rich second generation all confirmed that they saw the flight man. This man can fly at such a fast speed, his body is definitely stronger than steel. Phil Coulson was horrified after watching the video. Our scientists have verified this. His speed is even faster than fighter jets. Nick Fury's tone was full of wonder. He looked at Natasha Romanoff and other female agents, his eyes full of intrigue. Don't you have anything to say? I heard the boss ask a question. This really reminds me of something. Natasha Romanoff spoke suddenly. Do you feel familiar too? Agent Hill's eyes flickered slightly. The 2 women looked at each other. Both understand that the other party thought of the same thing. Since you are familiar with him, let's introduce him to Phil Coulson. Nick Fury stroked the beard on his chin, and looked at the 2 top female agents under him. Homelander. Natasha Romanoff and Hill Agent answered almost in unison. Let's talk about it. Hill Agent gave Natasha Romanoff the opportunity to perform. It is good. Natasha Romanoff was not hypocritical, and said to the people present, in the TV series we participated in, one of the characters named Homelander has such a strong physical fitness, and can also fly in the air regardless of gravity. Among those present, it is estimated that only Phil Coulson has not participated in the task of the TV series. Wait. Don't you guys want to say that a character from a TV show has escaped? It's not April Fool's Day yet. Phil Coulson just found it incredible. Just a guess. Natasha Romanoff shrugged. But Phil Coulson's expression didn't ease much. Although it is just a guess, the agent's intuition is not generally accurate. Their suspicions are not unreasonable. After our investigation, All the actors who have visited black robe pickets can be regarded as acting in their true colors. That's a group of mutants with different abilities that fit the role very well. Nick Fury touched his corned head again and sighed. So you now suspect that the director who played Homelander also has an ability similar to Homelander in the TV series? Phil Coulson's understanding of ability is still very strong, and he immediately understood the reason for Natasha Romanoff's guess. However, even so, Phil Coulson still found it very absurd. Director, don't you also believe this kind of thing? It's just a setting of a TV series. The actors are indeed mutants with abilities, aren't they? Natasha Romanoff and the others' guesses are just reasonable inferences. Nick Fury didn't dare lose his temper just now, and he didn't dare to send an agent out to teach Chu-Mu a lesson, because he was also a supporter of this speculation. The person Charles valued so much couldn't be just an ordinary director, or even an ordinary mutant. If Chu-Mu possessed the ability of Homelander, then Charles's value would be painful. This is another monster as powerful as a god. What an international joke. My god, the Homelander in your TV series has a setting that can resist nuclear bombs. You tell me now that there really is such a terrible human being in New York, and the most powerful weapon of human beings is just a toy in front of him? Phil Coulson's expression became a little terrified. He has also read the information about black robe pickets, humans who can withstand nuclear bombs. Is it really possible to exist in this world? Really can't imagine. If ordinary people hear such things, the order of the entire world may collapse. It's not just Phil Coulson who finds it hard to believe. Even Natasha Romanoff and Hill Agent, as well as Agent May, felt the creeps, thinking back to the days of filming with Chu-Mu. If Chu-Mu was really from Flight, then perhaps it wasn't the group of mutant students that they needed to guard against most at that time. Instead, they should be worried that Chu-Mu could not control his strength well, and would directly blow them up with one punch. Hill Agent, who played Queen Maeve, was the most terrified. Will that Chinese director named Chu-Mu really be from this flight? Hill Agent couldn't help asking Nick Fury for confirmation. She got a barely affirmative answer from Nick Fury. The two have exactly the same body shape, which is a conclusion drawn from data comparison. The data comparisons are consistent. Identity is naturally equivalent to self-evident. It's unbelievable what kind of world we live in. Phil Coulson covered his forehead and shook his head with a wry smile. It's really outrageous that someone can resist nuclear bombs, but we really need to make the worst guess. Nick Fury's eyes are very deep. He's more knowledgeable than anyone else, and the people on Flight in the video remind him of a friend he hasn't seen in a long time. Captain Marvel. Since such superhuman beings can be born in the universe. Similar figures appear on Earth. What is impossible? When Carol flies, her body will still emit light, and she can survive in the universe. In comparison, Carol should be stronger. Nick Fury thought so. He could only comfort himself like this. Otherwise, he would also feel the uncontrollable panic in his heart. How should we treat such a timed nuclear bomb? Phil Coulson asked in a hoarse voice after calming down. He's not a danger, is he? For our director friend, we should maintain a good relationship. We may need him in the future. Nick Fury is actually not the kind of character who wants to kill a dangerous person immediately, even if this person makes him restless. He also judges the degree of danger of the target. Nick Fury, who knows that there are many aliens in the universe and believes in the Dark Forest law, will want to fight for every extraordinary power he can get. Will he be one of the candidates to start my plan? Nick Fury looked at the floating comparison photo of Chu-Mu in the upper left corner of the video. His eyes began to become extraordinarily deep. After a long time. How to describe this flight person in the file? The staff member in charge of writing the file suddenly raised his head and asked Nick Fury. Nick Fury didn't have any hesitation at all, and immediately gave an answer. The same inhuman strength, the same terrifying physical quality, and the same powerful flight speed. Just use the current title of Homelander. With Nick Fury's decision. Ever since, in S.H.I.E.L.D.'s official file, Homelander's name is listed, and it is placed in the same folder as Flight's video and Chu-Mu's photo. Luckily Chu-Mu has no eyeliner in S.H.I.E.L.D., otherwise. If he heard the perverted name of Homelander, it would be certified by an official organization like S.H.I.E.L.D. and placed on the head of a law-abiding citizen like him. He would say that he would start the fire of divinity and kill 7 people in S.H.I.E.L.D. In and out are not allowed. It has been certified by the official organization in this way, and the influence of this role will be washed away in the future. Nick Fury should be thankful that at the moment Chu-Mu doesn't know anything yet. Carrie, you eat so much, why don't you gain weight at all? Chu-Mu organized a rare company dinner at noon. He chose a self-service restaurant very presciently. With an average consumption of $400 per person, it can be regarded as a relatively high-end restaurant. The doctor said my gastrointestinal function is very good. The pretty doll-like girl replied to Chu Mu without raising her head. I don't know what kind of special ability it is that allows Jiali to speak clearly while eating. 20 servings of seafood have been wiped out on the plate in front of her. The restaurant staff who stood watching from a distance had changed from the lobby manager to the restaurant owner. It could be seen that the restaurant owner was not in a particularly happy mood. Yes, it's a blessing to be able to eat. Chu Mu was smiling, but he couldn't help complaining in his heart. How could he believe such an outrageous explanation? It would be great if I had the physique of a big stomach king. Well, there are really fools who would believe that Jiali's ability to eat is due to her physique. The fool was Sky. She looked at Jiali enviously. Her stomach was already full, but she still wanted to stuff a shrimp ball into her mouth with difficulty. Don't worry about eating, it's okay. At least today's okay. If you're full, just rub your stomach and you'll be able to digest it immediately. Jiali, who was eating seafood, spread out a hand, took off the glove, and helped Sky next to him rubbed his stomach. Huh? It seems that I'm really not that supportive. Sky was pleasantly surprised to discover a medical miracle, and without the slightest doubt, he joined the action of the rice cooker. 1 serving. 2 copies. Good guy. This combat power is like changing a person. Ha ha. Chu Mu watched this scene. More and more I believe that Jiali's finance is a mutant. A mutant that is very edible, and can also make others become scumbags. Why didn't I find this character when I watched Marvel in my previous life? Chu Mu was puzzled, but he didn't dwell on this issue for too long. After all, this ability of Jiali, apart from satisfying the hobbies of foodies, is actually meaningless, and has no potential for combat. So it's not uncommon to not get into the plot of the X-Men. I just don't know, if I eat so much, will I have a special experience when I go to the toilet? I'm not in good health, and I still can't eat too much seafood, or my knees and wrists will hurt. Aunt May's food intake is normal. After eating for a while, she started drinking tea. Looking at the 2 girls who were feasting, she couldn't help feeling that it's good to be young. Look at the harmonious table atmosphere. Chu Mu didn't know what to say. He felt that he was the only normal person in the audience. Why couldn't Aunt May see that the 2 girls' appetites were abnormal? Especially Jiali. This is the 22nd share, right? Aunt May. Do you really think this is just a phenomenon that can be explained by being young? I'm probably the only normal person in the company. Chu Mu felt shameless in his heart. This time the company's dinner party was very harmonious. Only the world where the restaurant owner was injured was achieved. After the restaurant owner watched them go out with tears, Chu Mu did not go shopping with the 3 women, but returned to the company to get busy with business. Because the company's only TV series will be released soon, it is definitely necessary to negotiate a contract with the TV station and the website. None of the other 3 employees in the company have this ability, so Chu Mu can only hire another legal lawyer for the company. This is not. In the afternoon, a lawyer came to my door for an interview. In the empty office, Chu Mu stared at the documents in his hand and the lawyer across the desk for a long time. Your name is Matt Murdock. Chu Mu looked at the job applicant in front of him with a wonderful expression. He was a blind man wearing a black suit and holding a cane for the blind. Yes, although I have a disability, it doesn't affect my work ability, Matt Murdock said confidently. His qualifications and experience are extremely rich. This point has been well displayed on the personal resume. I don't doubt your ability. Chu Mu definitely does not discriminate against people with disabilities. He has a wonderful expression. Just because the disabled person who came to interview was Daredevil. Yes, Matt Murdock, a superhero who is a lawyer by day and a criminal by night, is the devil in the mouths of many gangsters in Hell's Kitchen. The blindness of both eyes does not affect Matt Murdock's actions. May I ask, why did you apply for this job? If Chu Mu remembers correctly, Daredevil has a serious job during the day. The economy is in recession, and today's world is not friendly to us blind people, Matt Murdock answered calmly. His sunglasses-wearing eyes looked at the interviewer in front of him calmly. Although he couldn't see it, his other 5 senses were significantly strengthened. Matt Murdock has met many people of all kinds, but no one has ever brought him such a strong oppressive force. Although Chu Mu behaved very casually and did not show any hostility, Matt Murdock still felt extremely horrified in his heart. He felt an unprecedented danger from Chu Mu. It's like facing the sun. What is the situation with the boss of this company? Matt Murdock felt that he should go deep into the company to investigate a truth. Okay, you're hired. Chu Mu didn't think about it for too long. Matt Murdock's business doesn't need to be investigated at all. A very good lawyer. It definitely meets his requirements for legal affairs. As for the fact that Matt Murdock is not an ordinary person, Chu Mu doesn't care about it at all. There is no normal person in the company anyway. Aunt May. Matt Murdock is on board. The company with 4 people turned into 5 people, and Carrie was clamoring to set up a cafeteria again. Her appetite made Matt Murdock silent for a long time. There is indeed a problem with this company. Matt Murdock concluded after seeing Carrie's appetite that this is definitely not a normal film and television production company. Probably a mutant lair? Matt Murdock has been Daredevil for so long, so he naturally knows a lot about mutant. He also has no hostility towards mutant. What he needs to make sure is that this mutant organization is not harmful to society. There shouldn't be any harm, right? Matt Murdock had been working for a few days and had been paying close attention to Chu Mu's situation. However, many of the pictures in his imagination did not appear. This boss, who is extremely dangerous to his perception, is no different from an ordinary otaku, and he doesn't even have the bad habits of many rich people. Watch dramas at work. Watch drama after get off work. Order supper at night. And ask the 2 female employees who live in the company to eat together. It's really just a late-night snack, and Matt Murdock also joined the ranks of a late-night snack. Because Chu Mu ordered barbecue that day, Lawyer Ma's mouth was swollen all day the next day. It turns out that even Daredevil can't eat spicy food. Lawyer Ma, come and try this Arctic scallop, it's very delicious. Jiali held a big bag of snacks and shared the good things with the company's employees. My name is Lawyer Matt. In fact, you should call me Lawyer Murdock. Matt Murdock was very helpless about this lively finance. It's only been 5 or 6 days since he came to work, but he's already gained several caddies, and the culprit is the finance in front of him who is willing to share delicious food. What happened? How can you eat so much? And still eating like crazy? But the boss likes to call you Lawyer Ma, and he also said that people surnamed Ma are very powerful. Jiali blinked her eyes with a puzzled expression. Matt Murdock is eager to say that Chu Mu may have a serious mental illness. However, no matter what, Chu Mu is his current boss after all, so he held back for a long time and still didn't express his complaints. Eat 2 bags? Carrie's thoughts returned to eating, and she forced 2 bags of scallops to Matt Murdock, and then returned to her office with a bunch of snacks. Matt Murdock looked at the valuable snacks in his hand, neither eating nor not eating. He doubted that if he continued to gain weight like this, he would not be able to work as a superhero. Magic Shaw can't be flexible. About Matt Murdock's small moves in the company. Chu Mu is definitely clear. He has the ability to spy on other people's thoughts. How could he not notice what's going on with the people around him? It's just that he didn't care at all. The body is not afraid of the oblique shadow. Matt Murdock suspects his company is some kind of nefarious mutant den. Then let Matt Murdock investigate. Anyway, this is an organization that eating and drinking together as a family. Another day with nothing to do, a waste of time. Chu Mu didn't have much to do recently, so he began to catch up with the TV dramas in this world. The film and television industry in the Marvel Universe is extremely developed, and various Hollywood blockbusters are emerging one after another, which is probably related to the very short production time of special effects. In short, Chu Mu is very cool to watch. In this way, he worked as an otaku in the company for a few days, so that Matt Murdock was a little suspicious of life. In fact, it's not that Chu Mu is not doing business. He occasionally keeps an eye on the progress of the special effects company to prevent those technicians from performing freely. After S.H.I.E.L.D.'s disguised insurance personnel transferred the insurance money to the account, he also completed the identity task of bar owner in the first time. For a bar with a wooden structure, it is as easy to build as building blocks. After Chu Mu asked the workers to decorate the bar into a pink paradise, he got a bottle of wine that can never be drunk. It tastes better than 8. The second year Lafayette is much better. Cool. Chu Mu poured himself a glass of fine wine. Having a great time. Time soon came to a new 7-day cycle. He drew a new identity again. This time. Not bad luck. Silver level status, top rich man. Reminder. Once the identity takes effect, it will be permanently valid. On the surface, you are just a super director who is destined to become a god, but in fact, this layer of identity is just a disguise for you to play in the world. Behind the appearance that you are poor and destitute and can only exploit your subordinates for a living, you are actually a top rich man with a deep secret. You definitely hold a controlling stake in a cutting-edge biotechnology company, and you have a lot of talented people who can create tens of billions of economic benefits for you every year. Now, an order from a state agency has been assigned to a company under your name, and you have to stand up and decide the direction of the company. Identity exclusive mission. Decipher the super soldier serum. Task reward. Obtain the formula of superpower serum. Silver status. It is much better than the previous 2 bronze level identities, and the rewards after completing the identity's exclusive missions have become richer again. Within a setsuna of obtaining the identity, Chu Mu received information about the identity. History was revised again in silence, and Chu Mu transformed himself into a top rich man who could play with young models until he vomited. Tens of billions of revenue a year. This is money that Chu Mu can put in his trouser pocket. Even on the earth of the Marvel Universe, there are very few companies that can create so much economic value for the company's bosses or shareholders. This company has produced many specific medicines, monopolized the treatment market for many diseases, and monopolized many technology patents for cutting-edge medical equipment around the world. From the information Chu Mu received, he immediately learned the details of the company, and his expression was quite normal at the beginning. However, with the increase in the amount of information read, his expression began to become a little weird. It's not because of the company's business and connection with state agencies, nor because this state agency is an old friend SHIELD. Top tech companies, still doing biology. It's normal to be in contact with SHIELD. After all, even Osborne Industries is cooperating with the military to crack the super soldier serum. It is no surprise that one more company joins the ranks of crackers. After all, even top doctors like Hailun Zhao also work in this company. Yes, Chu Mu's company owns the Marvel character Helen Zhao. But that's not why he looked weird. The reason why Chu Mu's expression became strange was because the company under his name had a very famous name in the heavens and all worlds. Umbrella Biotech. Chu Mu didn't know what to say. Almighty I actually likes to play this kind of rotten meme. And also, SHIELD asked his company to study the behavior of the human body's strengthening potion. Good guy, are you sure you're not stacking some awesome buff?